Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out... Spock! Spock! Where are your damn pants?
Are we all
I
muted?
can't do this with your pawn far hanging there like that.
Greetings and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your host, Roman. Tonight, we are talking classic Star Trek, and we have quite the panel here tonight. I am very excited about this one. With me, as always, my co-host, my wingman, it is Shieldwall of Dragons. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this. We got a pretty big panel tonight, so I think there's going to be a lot of good chat going on.
We do. And I will challenge someone to a death match before this night is over.
Only if we play the music.
It would be fun if we didn't have that.
Exactly. There has to be.
Exactly.
Hold on. I think I have the best one. Sorry.
Perfect.
And we want to thank Mags for being with us here tonight. It's been great.
Thanks for showing up. See ya. Eject.
He is the man that knows all the things about all the things. It is Matt Trek for what the hell, Matt?
That's
what he
Captain Bear is here.
How are you?
Are those Star Trek bears?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Thank
Instead
you
of
for
Care
inviting me
Bears,
to
it's
the
Star
show.
Trek bears?
It pleased me to run such a prestigious panel.
They're going to shoot photon torpedoes from their tummies.
Just imagine how much better Star Trek 4 would have been if it was like a giant bear in space looking for bears on the ground instead of some stupid friggin' whales.
Nobody likes the whales. Nobody.
There to be whales here.
He is the meme master of the interwebs. He is Jacob Ironside. Welcome to the show, buddy. It's good to see you tonight.
Hello. I'm actually a Gorn.
Jacob is in the arena currently with a raccoon. It's not Star Trek, but it's still pretty exciting.
He's gonna get death match with the raccoon.
Yeah.
Hit it with the Gorn death grip. You know?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I watched that one.
I grow tired of this chase. Stop
Yeah,
and I will kill you quickly.
Yeah, it sounds just like the show. Perfect form.
Get a bamboo can with diamonds. Take it out.
Yeah, exactly.
She likes wine. She likes video games, but she likes wine more. It's our good friend Mags. Welcome back to the show, Mags. We have not seen you for a minute.
I know. Well, it's I've been playing my game streams around on top of you. Sorry, Roman, but that's why I chose it like an hour and a half in. So that
No. There's only so many hours in the day to make all of this work, and you have to make it work with your schedule, and that's we're
and I
all
am actually
dancing
drinking
around
beer
each other.
tonight.
What?
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm disappointed, and that's it. We'll beam you out
I
later.
think
I can
Max
always
has
drink
been
bourbon.
replaced by a changeling. Drinking beer.
No, it's a beer kind of night. That's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough. Accepted. Romulan ale would have been more appropriate, but we work with what we have. He is one of the great minds of the internet, and he is our friend. Welcome back to the show, Daniel. It is fantastic to have you here tonight.
Thanks for having me, Roman. It's crazy to think that it's been 18 years since we've had any new Star Trek, but that's how long it's been. We've been
the
starving.
Roddenberry era.
Closer to 30.
Yep.
It's a terrifying new world.
I don't think we've had any new Star Trek this century. Am I?
No, barely since the new millennium. So, but I'm eager to talk about TOS. Thanks.
What, you don't
Awesome.
like
And
lens
Daniel-
players?
What? I don't know what that is.
No lens flares tonight. So, and
I
Daniel,
do recall some episodes with Avery Brooks as the last Star Trek that was real. Yeah.
Wait. So Daniel also just put out a really fantastic video
unless-
on season 3 of Picard. So if you haven't, go and watch.
No
that
light
because
flares.
phenomenal.
Oh, sorry. No light flares unless Spock takes his pants off.
And that's entirely possible when Pon Farr is in the air. He is a God damn it.
I need a drink.
Author, screenwriter, man about town. He is Captain Copa Catania with us tonight. Welcome, sir.
Yoda you and Yoda the chat. I can't wait to dork out with everybody.
And there will be dorking.
Yes.
Heavy dorking. Heavy dorking.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm all lubed up for it.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Oh my.
We're going to have goof babies tonight.
We may.
I do not know what that means. What it means.
He is my neighbor to the north. He endures the things that I cannot. He is StephenRansom. Welcome to the show, my friend.
How are you? This is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it always amazes me. Go back to TOS, and there's more episodes than you think. It's like there's so many episodes that you some of which I haven't seen since they were like reruns, on Channel 11 back in the day.
WPIX in New York, for those.
That's
of you
right.
Yes, I also am a New England nerd. So cool, dude. Looking forward to it. You picked a good one for tonight. He is my favorite internet wizard. He goes and comes as he pleases. He is Blair de Blair. Welcome back to the show, Blair.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this. I grew up on original Trek, and I always love talking about it. So,
how could you not? He is the man across the pond. He thinks he has a proper accent, but we all know he's faking it. It is Mr. AWK. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Live long and prosper. I can't do it.
And that's why he's here tonight, folks.
Right.
So we have quite a lineup here tonight. I don't know if we're going to get to all the episodes, but we will give it a good go and see how this all pans out. Okay. And also, our good friend Nerdporial is doing
an audio
Star
issue
Trek
going on.
Picard. What's that? Who? What?
We're getting a lag from someone.
That's probably me. All right, I'm gonna ace my background. I know it's sexy, but the problem is it likes to slow everything down. So I have left the bridge of the USS Empire, and I am back in the studio.
Someone's got their audio piping through their web audio piping through their mic.
Oh, is there? I'm not hearing it.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Who is it?
Find you. Who is it? You tell me.
We will have a court martial if it's required.
Right. Roman's going to hang you from a yard arm.
So Star Trek began 1966. Gene Roddenberry's Wagon Train, in space was the kind of catch line. And we have Lucille Ball to thank that it even exists in its modern form. Without Lucille Ball, the show would not have been produced, or not then anyway. And who knows what might have happened to this thing that has so heavily influenced not just the science fiction genre in the modern era, but actually the real world itself. You look around you at the tech that you have, and a lot of that was inspired by young engineers who are watching this show. So thank you, Star Trek. I don't thank you so much for the iPhone, but I thank you for a lot of things. So Daniel, since you are back with us from a bit of a break, I'd like to start with you on this one.
Oh, wow.
To discuss your episode. I'm absolutely unprepared for
this. Is like my school childhood nightmare calling on me.
He's naked too.
Don't. That's why I have a blanket up.
It's about a thing that had something to do with a thing, and there was a man.
And he's not wearing pants.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
None of us are wearing pants. That's kind of the point of the show.
That's the magic.
So I'm going to share this. the screen real fast. So we're going to be talking about, Daniel is going to be talking about, if he finds the will, the devil in the dark. And I have a very personal affection for this episode. This is the very first episode of Star Trek that I ever saw. Young 6-year-old Roman of the Empire sitting with his pop of the Empire watched this episode, and that was it for me. So there's some fun stuff going on. This is the first one where Dr. McCoy says, "I'm a doctor, not a." So
Yeah.
a little bit of cleverness there.
He's not a bricklayer.
Yep.
Not a bricklayer.
Damn it,
That line.
you're not a bricklayer.
Well, thanks for setting the bar so extremely high, telling me this is your first episode that you watched with your dad. I'll try not to mess this up.
I hope you're prepared, Daniel.
Daniel, this is my show. It's impossible to mess anything up. So let me pull up the slides for us here so we can. Now we're gonna. For those of you watching, and you're used to these streams, we're going to discuss the episodes. We're not going to go full through them because otherwise we're here for about 10 hours. And I'm divorced, and then I have to move up and live with Stephen. So we're going to
I'll be as concise as possible.
And if I were faster, this would be better. But I am an idiot. The devil in the dark. Here it is.
Well, I'll just start. So one of the things I really love about this episode is the silicon alien and the Horta. That's the name, right? Just watch this episode.
Yes.
The Horta.
Yes, it's almost like horchata, but not quite the same.
For some reason, I was thinking of the DS9. They have a similar name, but anyway.
Horta.
Yeah. So what I really like is the creature design is fantastic.
Really?
I think it is. So
it looks like Pizza the Hutt's grandmother.
I love that you have to use your imagination with the original series.
I'm a big fan of the Horta.
I really love it. And I like when they do the first shots when it jumps on top of the miners here. And
I didn't know there were children in this episode. I'm sorry. That was a bad joke.
Wow, dude.
The miners, not the miners.
Shieldwall, kick him out.
Can Roman do his own show? One of the other things I really like about this is that we get, here we have a wonderful moment of terror. And this right here, this intro where he's telling him, he's asking the chief here, do we have to do this? This is other people have died. And it really takes you to the side of Star Trek that you don't get to see very often, which is the people of the Federation outside of the ship, which right away grabs me. And I love it because it's the world building beyond the ship. And it tells you this is a full-blown universe that Roddenberry has created. And these are real people working on this planet with lives. And they don't want to die. These aren't just throwaway nameless characters. These are, as so often happens in shows today, where people die, they're just nameless nothing. And you know that they're just meant to be cast away. And here in the beginning, we see that, these real people and the terror and everything. And you get to see here the office that he has and the setup in terms of the shafts and the mining and all this. And there's obvious tension that they have.
That guy was a dick, Daniel.
Yes.
The boss, he was a dick.
He's a total dick. He's like, what's taking you so long? They're all kind of pissed off because they're expecting the Enterprise and Starfleet to just come and solve this situation. And Kirk, this is diplomatic Kirk. He is completely he lets it all run off his back. He lets this guy get his anger out. He doesn't yell back at him. He understands people have died. This is a tense situation. This is an important planet. And that's the other interesting thing about this is that Kirk keeps making the point that they need the minerals and the fuel from this planet because reactors on I think he says 1,000 other worlds are waiting for this fuel and for the what they're mining. I think it's deuterium.
Deuterium.
Yeah. And so he's basically saying not only are people dying, but the Federation needs this place up and running. We have to deal with this problem. And so he's able to both have a intense grasp of the situation and be a leader and start right away into solving what the problem is, but also deal with the miners. in a very diplomatic way. And it's a great back and forth tension. And again, it's just showing Kirk not the just simple action Kirk.
Right. Yeah, and I like, and we'll get to it, but there are some very good back and forths with Spock in this episode.
So Spock, and it's wonderful because Spock keeps making the point about this is a life, and we have a scientific duty of understanding new life, exploration, capture if possible, and yet he'll keep on coming back to, but I understand, Captain, we have to kill this creature. I like that there is right away, they basically theorize that it's a silicon-based life form. It shows, that they're intelligent thinkers. Spock's an intelligent thinker, and they basically figure that this is going to be what they're going to find. And so it's not so much a mystery. It's not like a silly mystery box episode. It's more about finding what they suspect, confirming what they suspect, and then dealing with it. And some of the things are a little cheesy. This thing looks like it weighs about, 1 pound when it should be much heavier than that. And there's tossing around.
It's a ball from a ball pit in Target, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was a bowling ball.
It's no way does it weigh, like he's lifting that thing. It weighs nothing.
He's going to bounce it on the floor.
Bowling balls don't weigh a lot.
Yeah. And when they have one of the shells that's broken, it's like paper thin,
Paper thin.
And
there's nothing in it though. That's the problem.
I know. This is one of those things I can overlook this. So these are the kind of things I can easily overlook. I like this too. The security. That guy in the end is so grizzled. I wish we'd see more of these guys, throughout the seasons, because it's cool that these are like his actual warrior security guards. Like they are the Marines, I guess you'd say, of the ship. And
especially that guy in the middle who doesn't look like he wants to be there at all. Dude, I'm wearing a red shirt.
This one, man.
Yeah, gentlemen, not all of you are going to make it back. I'm sorry.
Godspeed.
That only makes this more authentic, right, Roman? Because I mean, an actual Marine squad would have that guy in it too, I'm sure.
Yeah, every squad does.
I know it's not factually true when you look at the statistics and numbers of whatever it is, but man, look at all those red shirts.
Oh yeah.
This guy on the end with the white hair, he's got to be like a fucking legend in their world.
He's a lifer. Yeah, look at that. How many times
he looks like he looks like that NFL coach Pete something from like the Seahawks and the what was his name?
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
Yeah. Who that guy actually is that's their Roman of the Empire.
Never make an officer, huh?
Kirk is like, you better not die. I've got so much writing on your odds.
I got 2 more weeks to retire. They put me in a red shirt.
Kirk's looking at that scene. He's like, how the hell did this guy get that old?
That's what I was thinking.
Sick Bay Commando.
This is before the trope of people splitting up in a horror movie, and the red shirts are all splitting up one at a time.
They have to.
Do you get does anybody else get strong alien vibes from this episode?
Yes.
Sure.
They're
melting down people with acid.
Yep.
Like it's molecularly broken down, and they're like, "Oh, it's just like acid or whatever."
Well, there are a bunch of science fiction movies with stuff like that happened back in the 50s and 60s.
But it's like a monster. It's the.
No,
monster.
I get what you're saying. I see it. There's a very strong horror element to this episode.
But also the eggs too. She's laying eggs everywhere.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that you think that there was a little bit of lifting of material when they made Alien?
Probably.
By the way,
but that's not Harry.
Yes, that's my accusation.
To all the half-lighters out there,
Stanton in a red shirt.
This episode is a perfect example of how to do subverting expectations properly.
It is. Matt, you nailed it. So that's the other thing I really love about this episode. They have every right to kill this thing because lives are being lost. Other planets are depending on them. Kirk is right when he makes his call, and he's basically saying it's horrible. We're not here to kill other creatures, but this is a basically kill or be killed type of situation, and this is too important. It takes a component from the reactor, which means that the planet's going to shut down and basically go nuclear and irradiate everything. So they'll have to either evacuate or die. So,
but I love how it leaves the guy's gun. It doesn't melt the gun; it just melts the guy.
Yeah, he took the cannoli instead of the gun.
Right.
Yeah.
I also want to know how it carried a mechanical component away from the reactor.
I always thought about that too, Daniel. I'm like, it's got no hands. It's got no hands.
And their assumption that the component is still intact somewhere. Why wouldn't it have just melted?
It's just like the fact that it writes a message for everybody to read in English now instead of like people.
That actually makes sense because the creature's intelligent and knows it can't win by force. So what was trying to communicate, eventually force a negotiation type of thing. That makes kind of sense.
That actually is a good theory because it doesn't really want to be killing. And the reason it can write the letters is when Spock mind melds with it, it learns about Spock, just like Spock learns about it. So,
we're getting there.
But this is peak Star Trek where it makes you feel bad for killing an omelet. Like you're hurting an omelet, and you're like, "All right, I feel bad for the omelet now."
Well, it's not just
especially an omelet that has sausage in it. It looks like a sausage and omelet.
You're gonna make me regret eating breakfast ever again.
It looks like an old 1980s MRE omelet.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is really bad.
This is one of the few Star Trek episodes with truly alien, other aliens, where we have one in TNG, just completely alien life form. And I love that about this episode too, is that of course, like Bones says, silicon, he doesn't even believe that a silicon-based life form is possible.
Well, Roddenberry had a rule about that. Like anytime you saw a non-human alien, you basically had either convince him the story was really awesome or like do it against his will, so to speak.
Oh, because he didn't want to have something so.
He wanted human aliens. So it's called one of the Roddenberry rules that they eventually got rid of after they depowered him in TNG.
Well, they're able to make this one. I like that they're able to make a being that is so obviously not humanoid and not something we can relate to, and yet have a way of relating to it. And here we are. We have Spock and him go back and forth. But again, Spock is not confrontational. He's simply pointing things out. He does a little bit to push back, like when he tells them to possibly capture it. And Kirk is ticked about that and tells him, capture, I didn't give that kind of order. And again, Spock is more concerned. What the great part about that is, as much as Spock is pushing back on killing this thing, once Kirk encounters it, Spock is yelling at him to kill it. And he is just shouting at him, kill it, Captain. You can't risk your life. And so he's immediately goes into his mode of second in command and protecting the captain's life. And I like that dichotomy of Spock. He's not just his one track. Like, I feel like if this was written today, that's all he would be in the entire episode. It would just be repeatedly saying, don't kill it, don't kill it, don't kill it.
Yeah.
And we also get a really nice Kirk and Spock flip their roles.
Yes.
Yeah. We also get a really nice example of that same type of relationship in Arena when we get to that. It's their relationship as commanding officer and XO is very well defined, and the way that they interact is entirely appropriate.
Yeah. It's
not
all
always so with
believable.
other officers.
It always comes across as this is a real ship. And again, here you again feel like this is a real. I love this effect. I know everyone thinks this is silly.
Melting through the rock.
Through the rock.
It's pretty cool.
It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool for the time.
It's a really good practical effect. Yeah.
Was that like paper mache or something they just burned?
I think so. It's like paper mache, and then this thing itself is kind of like a blanket with like rubberized material on top.
Well, knowing
the actor crawling around on the floor.
Yeah, crawling around the floor like crawl.
Well, the same guy who designed it is the guy who's in it.
I think the guy doing it is doing a fantastic job of a blob creature. And I love this where Kirk is in a standoff and his better nature kind of takes over because he realizes that it's able to react to him, that there's intelligence here, and he doesn't want to just outright destroy it when it's not instantly attacking him. And he realizes, okay, I can try to find out a little bit more here. This is when Spock is, of course, yelling at him, "Kill it, Captain!"
That's not William Shatner, by the way.
Oh, and he calls him Jim. Kill it, Jim! I love when Spock just calls him Jim in those
Every
moments.
now and then he will call him Jim. It's very rare, but it's there.
Yes,
it's logical.
It's probably it is logical for him to do that because they're both friends, and this is I mean, in a way, it's logical, but it's a little emotional because he cares about his friend and trying to snap him out of it, and that's one way to not address your captain as kill it, Captain. One way to snap him out of it is to call him by his first name, which is out of protocol. So,
right.
It's that little bit of the human side of Spock that always pops out here and there.
Yeah, what's excellent about it is throughout their relationship, Spock is given the permission to feel the way he does about the captain because, after all, he's the first officer. Of course he's going to feel that way, right? So Spock even has a form of denial built into his relationship where he can just I'm not emotionally attached to the captain. I'm the first officer. It's my responsibility to protect the captain, of course, and other lies.
I have to say that the Horta here, with the special effects department, they really need to lube this thing up.
You think this was also an inspiration for Pizza the Hut?
That's what I said. I said it's Pizza the Hut's grandmother.
Yeah. Speaking of
one of those strudel cakes with frosting on it.
It's also right out of
Avatar
too. It's
I just want to see Kirk go up and
where was this in Avatar? You taste it, yeah. It's a southwestern omelet.
Bones, it's delicious.
Don't kill it. Eat it.
I love
fabulous
eat it,
source of protein.
Eat it.
Yeah, beam me down some hot sauce.
Dude.
Oh, God.
Scotty, I need a giant spatula on 10.
Bones speciesist. He doesn't like other aliens. It's pretty clear. And he sees this thing and he's like, "You want me to heal that?" He's probably the most against other life forms, which is hilarious as a doctor. But he is a healer, and Kirk tells him that. He's like, "Physician." I think he says, "Physician, heal that patient," but he tells him to get to work, and that's when we get the famous "I'm not a bricklayer."
First time.
Memes before memes.
Here he goes.
And I don't know if this is the first time he does a mind meld without touching, but he's able to only do so much without touching the Horta, and then in order to truly communicate later, he has to actually go into physical contact, which is pretty terrifying. Consider this thing can emit acid from its body.
Yeah. So
Hey, Gray. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Gray, how you doing, dude?
Hey,
so, doesn't McCoy say, "I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer"?
Yes.
And Kirk replies, "You're a healer. There's a patient."
Yeah.
It was such a boss move.
Oh yeah.
He's just like, no. I'm pulling rank without saying it.
But it is funny to me that
I love this part. This part is fantastic.
Oh, no kill I, and they say, "Is it a statement or is he asking us not to kill him?"
Yeah.
And it picked up Spock. It learned through its mind meld with Spock.
Yes.
That's where it gets language from, which
And
was pretty cool.
And then now we reach the crisis of the episode, which is they realize that this is a thinking being. It's possibly he realizes it's the last of its kind. They find out that these are all the eggs, and that I believe it's 10,000 years. There's only one
crazy number.
a huge long number, and might have been 50,000. The Horta, there's only one left, which is essentially the mother keeper of their entire species, and she has to basically foster them into an entirely new generation of their race. And if she dies, if the eggs die, their entire race is gone, which is why the Horta keeps saying oblivion, there'll be no more. And the other cool thing is when Spock is melding with her, it's talking about the names for things like the sacred chamber, and it has its own terminology for
because when they were mining, they ended up going to this lower level that they hadn't
Right.
been to, and they found all of these silicon nodules, and that's the birthing chamber, and that's why the
Yes.
creature is killed.
Man, this is strong alien vibes to me. I'm sorry. Like,
Well, there's nothing to be sorry about because this was first, so it's Alien
Right.
that needs to apologize, not this.
right?
Wow,
No, I'm
this
just
is all
saying,
the color.
like Alien built upon this episode. I swear to God, like Dan O'Bannon
Why?
saw this episode, loved this episode, and just punched up the horror level to 11.
I'd
with
like
it.
to know why that
Original
one guy
Trek.
has that purple suit on the whole show.
Because he needs
Yeah.
to
That
stand
one
out.
guy.
He's an executive.
You know
who-
why, Matt. You know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, boom, boom, chang, chang.
I love this guy. He's on his communicator. He's calling Kirk back. He's like, Captain, it's Ortega. I need to report. I'm still alive.
Thank
yeah,
goodness I didn't go for Hair Club for Men.
we get our angry mob.
There he is. The
Yeah,
angry
I,
mob, the pitchforks and torches.
I also love that his solution is just to plaster it over because it's a silicon life form.
Right. I love it.
So we get our angry mob of our Frankenstein mob, and they boil over. They want to attack and kill the creature, and we have our confrontation, which is Kirk basically coming up with a fantastic solution for everyone, which is you guys need tunnels to be dug. The Horda love to eat rock. Just work with them, and they can literally get you. This place is a treasure trove, and they mentioned earlier in the episode that there's gold and diamonds and platinum and like everything you could think of on this planet. And they've been mining here for some like 50 years or something like that, some long period of time. And the Horda never cared until they broke into that egg chamber.
The
And
birthing
so,
chamber,
yeah. And so, there's Kirk with his smirk, and he's got a simple solution, and the miners are all for it. The second that they hear it, they're like, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. They totally forgot they're dead. They're like, all right, cool.
So Jacob Ironside, I'm seeing a lot of parallels between this and your situation with the raccoons.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
If you could learn to harness their raccoons.
If I could
let
just
them work
mind
for
meld,
you,
to understand the raccoon.
You need to understand the garbage pandas language and terminology and be able to
You
work with
throw
them so
away
that way they are
garbage. They eat garbage.
If you had little tiny pickle jars they could open with their little hands. So, and then I like this part of the very end where he calls down to see how things are going, and the chief here is telling him, the little guys, the little babies are great. They're already burrowing around.
Yes.
So he's just happy.
He's
as a
talking
clam.
about puppies.
Yeah, exactly. So I like this. I know it's a little cheesy because they just bounce back from having people killed and horrifically, but it shows the good nature of Star Trek and Gene Roddenberry's vision, and how humans can even work with something so alien and still find some common ground to exist together.
Right.
And if it had been possible, we see this in a TNG episode, which I won't go into, but if it wasn't for the fact that there was such a urgency with lives on the line, then the Federation, upon finding a sentient creature, would have simply evacuated the planet and said, we shouldn't be here. And that's the kind of wonderful resolution that Roddenberry wanted with his vision for the Federation and for the future of mankind. And so this episode really highlights that and showcases just what this bright future really could be, and how, in a practical way, because we're seeing miners. This is all practical stuff, right? We've got a mining company there, a colony, and we've got essentially a military vessel showing up to deal with things. And if you wanted to say it's a native, creature or whatever, and the solution isn't one of destruction, but one of cooperation and peace.
Right, resolution.
So, if you go to Memory Alpha, which is like the Star Trek wiki for the continuity stuff, like the series, they list a lot of cool stuff out of every episode. But so I'm just going through and see if I can find anything interesting. And one interesting thing is, remember I pointed out there was a guy that wasn't Shatner, like from Rear, right? Well, it turns out, according to this, that Shatner's father died during the filming of this episode.
Yes.
And
really,
he finished his dialogue. He didn't tell anyone other than Nimoy, who was the one consoling him on set. And right at the end of his dialogue, he left to go to the funeral. That's when everyone else found out. And his stunt double was the guy we saw from the rear, finished filming the rest of the non-dialogue scenes for Shatner. So that's why we saw that guy who wasn't Shatner.
That's pretty intense, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So before we keep rolling on here, I do want to address the chat and say hi to everybody. We got Logical Spock out there.
Mm-hmm.
We have the lovely and talented Mrs. Katana. Gray popped in for a sec. We love our man in Japan. Subtle Deviancy. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Our man Zax. Zax has had some just powerhouse stuff going over on his channel. So please make sure you get over there. Let's see. Rolling through. Bobby Wold, who always likes to derail me with something wildly effed up, and I appreciate you being here. I think. Oh, and I know Invader Zim and Cannoli Sasquatch are out there as well. There's Cannoli.
I see Low Spec. I see Low Spec at the bottom. He's here.
Yep.
Hey,
there we go. Nice.
One thing that I noticed about the roll credits on that episode was it was written and produced by one person. That's it. It didn't need a writer's room of 25 people and diversity hires and all kinds of other stuff looking at the script and making sure that, you know, it's going to be suitable for TV. It's just one person wrote the story, which is why I think these episodes are so good.
They are.
It's
I think
not,
Copa might disagree though, because he has a real affection for this season of The Mandalorian. I mean, and that was written by a single person, and it's just been so good, good.
Is that why Copa is drinking tonight?
That is why Copa is drinking tonight, because Copa has to watch Mandalorian. He was stupid enough to put that on his shoulders.
If that person was an AI, maybe.
That's what I was about to say. The writing room is filled with the AI. It's just the
it's Jon Favreau is the name.
Jon Favreau drinks and then smashes his own head into a drywall and then dials into words.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Favreau GPT. You know?
Yeah, Favreau GPT, and then he gets a script.
Yeah, because I have one word for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, the
fuck
AI.
Grogu. Fuck Grogu.
I'm so fucking tired of this little baby with eyes. This little snot bubble with ears.
So, and Jon Favreau eats a lava cake.
So circling
it's molten.
Do you like the little macaroons that Baby Yoda? Remember when they had the macaroons or whatever in that one episode?
I liked it when he was eating the little babies. I was like, oh, at least he's got some kind of thing going on here.
The unfertilized eggs.
That was terrible.
Those babies are
fucking awful.
It's just sucking them down like
that.
You know, what if the pickled eggs or something, which are disgusting.
He was eating them like pickled eggs, and it's like endangered species.
Yeah,
he's popping them in his mouth. Like
so that right there tells you that he's susceptible to the dark side.
Yeah, man, dude.
He's not good. He's not good.
I would love to see Grogu go dark side and just crush everybody with a force at this point.
So
all right, so that actually we're gonna go into another one of our favorites here, and this is going to be Shield Walls. And I'm not going in any kind of order here. It's just kind of is. If anybody has a time limit tonight, though, please let me know. That way we can move forward. I know, Mags, you didn't send me an episode. You were like, I asked.
Mine is trouble with mine was. Sorry, mine was trouble with tribbles. It's kind of.
Mags
with the Furbies everywhere. Furby episode.
I asked the question. Nothing back.
Hey Matt, real quick, what was it you had from that last
episode?
In the Star Trek EU, the Horde eventually joined the Federation and Starfleet and all that. And there's a really cool character who's a Horde who becomes a crew member on the Enterprise named Ensign Narat or something like that. He's in like 6 or 7 books. So they're by Diane Duane. She's one of the top 5 Star Trek writers, in my opinion, for the novels.
Someone is trying to enter, but we are full. I got must be
Yeah.
nerdtorial.
So.
Oh, okay. Do you need me to leave then?
Hell no. Let me leave.
Shieldwall.
You're a diversity member.
Exactly.
I know. I do feel
That's
that
true.
checkbox for
Otherwise,
y'all.
it's just a bunch of sausages, and no one
Yeah.
likes that.
Yeah, I didn't brush my eyebrows for nothing.
Let me. Is
Where you're
there?
here.
Is it? You got something going on in the private chat? No.
No, we're
I'm sure
just-
that's Shield. I'm sure that's nerdtorial. So Mags, you want to talk about tribbles?
Yes.
Now, I don't have a slideshow prepared for tribbles for reasons.
Yes, I'm
mostly
sorry.
because I didn't
You don't
know
want to
we were
use that
talking
feral
about
tribble from Picard?
tribbles, but I can pull up some tribble slides, but it's not going to be the hot stuff you're accustomed to from the of the Empire slideshow.
Look, it's been a week and I miss a ton of messages every single day. This is
She says she's too busy for the Empire.
You know what? Fuck you. Fuck your tribbles. Hey, Matt, because you'll know immediately. What season and episode is this?
It is season 2, episode 15.
Matt, you've got such a high voice.
Wait,
He's on mute.
Let's fix this. It's season 2, episode 15.
So
Bears.
close.
All right, now this is going to be a little
Accept
bit
it.
weird. Oh my god, because they have 56 pages. But we're not going to look at 56 pages. So we're going to be doing some hopping around here because that's just this is where I get my Star Trek slides from, but we don't have a straight up download. So Mags, start talking about your episode.
Well, this is I was not able to get a refresher on this, but I do remember this was always been my favorite because I mean, Trouble with Tribbles is such a great alliteration in my and it really does make sense with their cooing and their chirping and everything else. But I love the fact that we do meet some of the Klingons in this as well. And here are these cute little creatures and Klingons in the same episode.
We do, and this is a weird one. And of course the Klingons don't look anything like Klingons in classic.
No, these were the original look, and they had more. They did not have a defined facial structure like we are used to seeing with the updates in the movies later, as well as in TNG.
Right.
Yeah, these were the good Klingons.
So they're
on Gold Lame is what
they're on this. Of course the crew and the captain. They're on this shore leave, and another the Klingon, another ship of Klingons are there and everything, and of course Lieutenant Uhura gets this little tribble on on this space station and brings it on board. But in the meantime, also
Forget
the crew,
about this guy.
Yep.
That guy.
And then and then the crew and the Klingons begin a brawl because
that's
the
because
Klingons
they're both on board this station at the same time having shore leave, so to speak. And I will speak as a man, if you're at sea for a long time, a tribble's going to look pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry, go on.
Wait about
Roman, what are you doing with the
Tribbles are like space raccoons.
Roman's in Africa looking at Furbies going, okay.
They're gonna spy on us, y'all. But yes, so they're in the space station. They're on shore leave. Uhura purchases this furry little cute creature.
Damn tribble.
A damn tribble. I mean, look at that. It's so cute.
More tribbles, more troubles, what I say.
But anyway, so of course she brings it on board, and gosh, I'm trying to remember, but something to do with the tribbles. Also, one of the things that's really neat about them is that the tribbles don't like the Klingons. They always react to them in a very negative, fearful way.
Yeah, like dogs, right?
Yep. I mean, look at that. That was the original Klingon.
They sounded like guinea pigs to me more when they squealed or whatever.
But they trill. The They trill.
They
No, I
go-
meant when
it's like
when they
almost
didn't
like a cat purr.
Yeah, when they didn't like being near the Klingons is what I meant.
Yeah, they was all like, whoa!
Yeah.
like when this guy was around.
I mean, look at that. That was the original Klingon. That was what's so neat about this episode too, is that you got to see the original Klingon look, and in a way, I still like the improvement because it makes them stand out even more. But this was the precursor, basically.
Well, I don't know if they even had the concept of him, or there's no way they had the budget.
And by the way, he comes
well,
back to
DS9
play
episode
Koloth
is-
in Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that was a great episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have the Tribble is their Tribbles are multiplying on the Enterprise, and
What's funny about those Tribbles is they probably just went down to a carpet store, got some shag carpet, and then cut them in the squares and made them.
Mm-hmm.
and then probably use string to kind of pull on them, so make it look like they're moving
But
or
the
making some.
horrific thing about that is that somebody had carpets like that.
Yeah.
My
So-
grandmother,
Welcome to the 60s, bro.
my grandmother still likes shag, and she was born in 1929, so there's that. But yeah,
who's cuter, Tribbles or Grogu? Ooh, that's
think
an easy one for me.
Tribbles.
Yeah, Tribbles.
How much shore leave is required?
But for that vote,
for either vote, for voting, in, for even
gonna-
realizing that there's a difference between the two creatures.
That's a good point. So I love McCoy here though, because he's like, as far as I can tell, Tribbles are born pregnant.
So one of the cool things here too, I think if I recall, even Spock likes the Tribbles. Here's stoic, logical Spock, and he starts to
They're aesthetically pleasing.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he likes their little tone.
Mm-hmm.
This guy.
Yep.
That's the
Something
station
that could-
officer,
Could
right?
not be done anymore. Yeah, he's like an adjunct.
In the animated series, they follow up, and the Klingons had bred a special predator to just goes around and eats Tribbles like a vacuum cleaner called a
Nice.
Glamis. It just walks around on legs, go, whoop, it's like sucking them down,
But then at some point we go back to the space station to shore leave, and this is where the
I love this
Klingons
scene.
the Klingons insult the Enterprise and her crew, of course, or they always throw insults because it's the Klingons, of course. And then there's a bar fight, basically, an good old fashioned Donnybrook, as they call it.
Scotty did his own stunts for that one.
Yeah, because it's one of those things. You're drinking, they're drinking, words are exchanged, things get kind of hot, and the next thing you know, I think who was it? Was it Chekhov? I think it was Chekhov.
Yeah, they were
ends up throwing the
egging
first
on.
punch here.
Chekhov was getting incised immediately, and Scotty was like, "Lad, take it easy, lad, take it easy." And then they insult the Enterprise,
that's right.
and Scotty's like, "That's
Scotty
it."
lays him out. Yes,
Of course, that's his baby. You don't insult his baby.
You don't insult the baby, no.
You don't insult the baby.
Right, because he was insulting the Federation, planet Earth, Earthlings in general, and Scotty's like, "Take it easy, relax."
Well, remember, wasn't just the Deep Space Nine time travel episode too?
Yes.
Yes.
I love that you get to see how Klingons weren't like at complete war with the Federation. There was this actual interaction on a space station.
And not only that, but you can see where there's definitely still tension there. Like the whole trying to get along is still brand new.
Yeah.
But so there's in this. I mean, this is
awesome.
Dressing down.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is McCoy when he's like, "What do you get when you feed fat Tribbles too much?" And Kirk was like a fat Tribble, and he's like, "No, you get more Tribbles."
Yeah, that previous scene where he's got them all lined up. That's the most realistic.
And he's like,
scene.
let me get this straight. He insulted me, but that wasn't enough. No, he insulted the ship captain.
Yeah, and he doesn't, and Scotty doesn't even care that he's insulting the captain, right?
Right.
Yep.
Like he only cares when the
That's
ship
when
is
the fight
insulted.
started.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Who cares about the captain? How dare you insult my ship?
Who hasn't had a end result of a bad shore leave, right?
Yep.
Yep.
If I remember correctly,
Shieldwall, you could probably
Cisco
talk
and,
about stories.
Cisco and O'Brien were in that lineup in the time travel episode.
This is where he talks about it. And he's just so proud.
I mean, look at him. He's like, you know.
And then Kirk's face, though.
He's like, but
great.
the thing is, his face is basically like, you know what? I'm kind of proud too.
He's saying, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. You know?
So anyway,
More troubles, kid.
I love how they have the tribbles in a bowl as if it's like.
This is when he makes the discovery, though.
Yep. Well, yeah.
Doctor, this tribble is dead.
Yep. And they're of course they're concerned with the increasing numbers and being able and also taking over the entire ship. And they could possibly be a potential threat because they are also multiplying so fast and they're eating all the food on the Enterprise. They are a threat to the food supply or any kind of shipments or whatever of any kind of food on the space station. So I love the fact that they have these little things as paperweights just hanging out all over the place.
This is like Gremlins, right?
Do you think this is like a precursor to like before all of us nerds having collector's items and having them all over the place?
Well, a bit of trivia on that. The dude who made the tribbles, he, as someone said before, he basically got a bunch of old carpet and made the tribbles and put some like mechanical toys in some of them to make them move and stuff. And those original tribbles were like humongous collector's items.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Let's see here. Sorry, trying to find a good spot to pop in out here. These two guys.
Well, and also too in this episode, they're dealing with a possible undercover Klingon agent as well. So, or at least they suspect somebody being a Klingon agent. So, yep.
Yeah.
And now they're dealing with also their possibility that the triples could be a threat to I think it was a grain supply.
Yes, Quadritricale.
Yeah.
Is this where Kirk starts like getting exasperated by it all too?
This is it right here.
They're in the food dispensers.
Yeah.
This is where he's really exasperated when he.
Yeah, this is where he's like, "I want a chicken sandwich."
No. This is the part two. Okay, now I remember. This is the part where he opens the top portion.
That's the end, yeah. Admittedly, the scene with the replicator doesn't make much sense.
Mm-hmm.
I admit that one doesn't make because the replicator is like a mini transporter. There shouldn't be tribbles.
They're just everywhere.
Yeah, he opens the overhead or something like that.
At the end, he's gonna open up the overhead on the grain bay and.
My guess
right
is
there,
that...
right there.
Oh,
yeah, he's gonna do it.
Yeah. Because are the tribbles a threat to the Quadritricale?
And there it is.
He opens the door, and the tribbles just keep falling and falling.
For those out there, if you ever, if that was actual grain, he did that. Kill him.
Oh God, he would have died.
You would have been crushed.
Well, I mean, not Kirk. He hit because he's indestructible, but everything else, they would just bounce off of him, and the shrapnel would have killed everyone else in the room, except for Spock. But any normal person would have been killed by that.
I'm just getting strong Gremlin vibes from this episode.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely. There's no doubt whatsoever.
Oh, here it is. This is
a direct inspiration.
Yeah, he should throw one into the microwave.
Look at the jaw in that guy in the background.
This is when Spock discovers that the tribble is dead, though. I'm sorry, I thought it was earlier. That's when he discovers the tribble is dead. These are the ones that were eating the grain. Ruh-roh.
Right? Sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
This one's dead too.
And they find out because of those dead tribbles that the grain has been poisoned. So now they realize that they're dealing with two threats. One, that the grain is poisoned, who poisoned them, and obviously it might be, they suspect something going on with the Klingons, but then and then the third threat is this they can't get, what are they going to do with the ever continuous multiplying number of tribbles, because they're going to run out of space in a minute.
And the Klingons are all butthurt because they're getting accused of poisoning the grain.
Mm-hmm.
I like that there's a consistency here that with the Klingons. This is the first time, but we see more instances where Klingons are being sneaky. They're not they're not the direct, straightforward warriors that they really claim to be, and that continues through this and Next Generation and beyond.
Well, they weren't like that back then. I mean, they were basically.
What do y'all think of how they explained to the Klingons in DS9 and Enterprise?
I hated it.
You know,
that they went through a period where they
there was a genetic modification to save them.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing.
I do like how they handled it in DS9. Worf is like, we don't talk about it.
I love that.
Well, that's a great line, but I hate forehead ridge Klingons. I hate that they made that change.
Oh, hey, Comics and Cosmetics is out there too. Hey, Danny.
Hey,
hello,
Danny. Yo,
hey,
love Danny. So this is funny though. So McCoy, they're using the Tribble test effect because Tribbles don't like Klingons. So Jim's just walking in another room, putting the Tribble up to people, and it freaks out on the advisor to the station manager. And McCoy scans him. He's like, Jim, this man is a Klingon. I mean, he looks like a dork.
But he's disguised as a human.
He's from the House of Dork.
So there's that. So I guess we're all dorks, Roman.
House of Dork. Well, maybe we are, maybe we're not, Mags.
He's probably thinking like, we spent like $1 billion on this infiltration, and it's being done in by a bunch of like furry rats.
That's right. Like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah.
And I would have gotten away with it too. It wasn't for you darn Tribbles.
This guy.
And even though the trouble, the Tribbles were trouble, they actually helped solve a mystery. So I mean, you got to give them some credit. So I think that's a funny scene right there. Like I don't know what to do with this, but then so now they're trying to figure out what to do with these things.
Had the Klingons in Star Trek 3 just started bombarding the Federation with Tribbles, they would have actually done real damage instead of wasting time with the Genesis device.
Yes.
They would ate everything.
The mechanics of war.
Yeah.
So Kirk wants to know what happened to all the Tribbles, and Scotty beaming them over to the Klingon ship.
That's kind of cruel. I always thought that was kind of cruel.
But it's look at him. But I have the because I have the last quote pulled up because I was trying to remember what it was, but here it is. He says, "There'll be no trouble at all."
You get it?
And of course, it works for him because of his accent, so it kind of flows off right off the tongue.
They're laughing. We're laughing. Everybody wins with the Tribble episode.
Kaffa.
When I saw this episode,
it's such a Shieldwall, but this is such a fun episode. Even as when I was a kid and watching the reruns, of course, it was, I don't know whether it was Nick at Night or like just a channel in general, but right. I always loved this as a kid because I thought they were cute, but it's like it made me laugh. It made me giggle. And I know, there's some serious stuff with it, with the poisoning of the grain and everything else in the bar brawl, but it just, I don't know, it made me feel good too at the same time. That's the one thing about this old series that I love, is that it still makes you feel good. It feels like they've accomplished something. They're dealing with the strangeness of the universe, and it can be silly. So it's, I like that, and I like the balance of that rather than just going from there's serious episodes, and then there's episodes like this where there is a little layer of seriousness, but it adds a little character and depth and world building to the universe, because who knows, we might find a creature like that out there one day. It's not all humanoids.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember thinking that this episode was bullshit when I was a kid, and then because the
you are Sicilian, of course.
Well, yeah, first of all, it was way too cute for me, and I'm just like, destroy something. But other
you are
than
a boy.
Yeah, I'm like, where's the action in this? Like, and the Klingons look totally different than what I was used to. But other than that, I thought it was bullshit because I'm like, the Tribbles are born pregnant. That's some sci-fi bullshit. And then I learned about aphids, and I was like, whoa, like that is actually possible in the world. So I thought that was pretty cool because I tied the two together.
And that's a cool thing about just the original Star Trek in general. They did their research and they expanded on that research to kind of give it a little. I mean, they have to expand on it anyway because you have to think futuristically. Ideally, what would that look like if you go from what we already know now, presently, and real, in our own world, realistic world, what would that look like? Paradigm shift, evolution wise, what have you, technology, what would that look like in this timeline? And they expand on it, but the basic premise of science is still there, and what we already understand and know. And that's what's so crazy about this show, is that it definitely opened the minds for a lot of young people to really go into science and field of any kind of space exploration or technology. And it really expanded on that. And thank you, Lucy.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Lucy. Oh, and you're right. I mean, and this show, an episode like this in particular, made it fun. It was enjoyable. You got espionage. You have a critical food supply that is in danger. You have two warring factions, and you got these cute little furry bastards running around the ship.
There's a lot of layers to this episode other than the cuteness. And that's the one thing about the show in general. Yes, there's some episodes that are a little bit serious or what have you, but there's a good balance of playfulness, of definitely encouragement and seriousness. And it's a good overall, show for an entire family to watch and enjoy without it being over the top something else. Like, it allows everybody from all ages to have that imagination, and to be able to explore that in their own minds. I mean, to go beyond where no man has gone before. I mean, that's kind of what every level of our ages should be like. So,
I mean, in a show like this, it appealed to a 6-year-old me.
Yep.
Because you didn't have to understand everything to enjoy the show. You didn't have to get, how light speed works. None of that stuff really mattered.
It
You just knew
cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. It was cool and it was believable for us. And then the older we get, when we're watching this show, we see the multiple layers, and that we can peel back like an onion, and that we can appreciate even more as we get older. That's the makings of a great show and a great story, is being able to cultivate different stages of life, that different stages of life can appreciate and actually understand that stage of life each and the episodes.
And Roddenberry understood that.
Yeah, we can understand it as a 6-year-old, like we enjoy it then. When we hit our teenage years, we can enjoy another, like a deeper layer, because we're starting to have a little bit more worldview, a little bit more experience or whatever than as an adult. And then like later on in life or whatever, each layer is added, and each stage of our lives, we can actually understand the story, but everybody can come together and enjoy it. So
Roman, I have an image of what the Glomer looks like, the triple eating machine monster.
Oh, yeah, let me pull it up.
So one thing when I was watching the show as a kid is they have a food problem.
Oh.
I was like, I wonder if you can eat the tribbles, because that would solve the problem.
I actually asked that question.
Wait, is that going to be fried chicken or something?
I don't know. But if they reproduce so quickly,
tribble kebabs or something like that.
Yeah, you just put them on a stick.
Yeah.
Well, we've all been to foreign ports, and we're sure that wasn't beef we were eating. So this is Matt's tribble eating monster.
This is from the animated episode called More Tribbles, More Troubles. That's called a Glomer, a Klingon who wore purple in the animated series. Because they're awesome. Like they bred that to eat tribbles. I don't know where the scene is. There's a scene where it walks around just sucking up tribbles like a vacuum. But if you skim through
those are good times.
Oh look, there it is.
Oh my god, the animated series was just.
And look, they made the Klingons accidentally bred super colony tribbles that were like when they shoot them, then it explodes into like bajillions of little tribbles, and it was a crazy episode. You also watch the animated series because it's actually pretty good.
That's funny. I love that they have actually the Klingon. That Klingon symbol has survived all these years.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know I know the Klingon symbol when I see it. I also have a Klingon dictionary because I'm me. But nice.
Yes, we understand that it's you, Roman. We understand that.
I know.
You have,
I know.
you have a copy of the rules of acquisition, though.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have. I don't want to. Yes, I did acquisition as well. Hey, I'm going to take like about 2 minutes to get rid of my own tribbles. You guys just talk for a sec. I shall be right back.
Take care of you.
Okay.
So, do you think the
Free
tribbles
for
would taste
all.
like chicken? What do you think the tribbles would taste like?
Well, the one question I would want to ask is how would you eat that with all that fur? I mean, wouldn't that be in
You
your
gotta-
teeth? And
Yeah,
be
you gotta
like,
shave it off. You gotta
Yeah.
cut it short and then shave it off, and then you'll get to
Well,
the
you
meat.
skin it and use the fur as like a triple skin hat, and then you got
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could always just it adds to the flavor, from what I understand. If my tribble lore is actually on point, if you burn the fur while cooking it on a spit, the fur actually adds a special flavor to it.
It might
Or
add a little
you can always trim
graininess.
it off and use it as a garnish along with the roasted
Well,
tribble
if you inject
as well.
some
Yeah.
seasoning inside the skin, you could use the fur as like the way you'd use a corn husk when you roast the corn.
You guys are assuming that
Or
this
you-
fur isn't
could-
like cotton candy, and you can't just eat it right off the tribble.
That's
Skin
it just
Yeah.
melts in your mouth.
You
Yep.
could just
Yeah.
skin it and grind it up and make like a haggis with it.
Ooh.
Shieldwall.
You know, stuff it
Shieldwall.
back.
Was there
you can-
anything in your MREs in the 80s that looked like tribbles?
If you let them out long enough, it did.
So-
like for like 10 minutes.
What my thing is though, even so if you skin it and you take the fur off, it'd probably make for a good duster. Yeah, I
you
mean,
could do that, or you could cut. You cut them down the middle. You skin them, and then you sew them all together and make them back into a shag carpet.
ooh,
I
there
swear
you
to
go.
God,
Yeah.
I leave for a minute and I'm hearing this conversation. And immediately my mind goes to the worst place. I'm thinking like 1970s tribbles versus, 1990s tribbles. There's a difference.
It's very
Um,
true. The tribbles in the 90s had like a thin strip of hair, right? It wasn't so
Yeah.
muffy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at
and there were
the
like
backs.
blue-haired tribbles and purple-haired tribbles as well as mohawk tribbles.
Well, there's
with
there's also
piercings.
side shaped
Yep,
tribbles.
side shade tribbles.
Yeah, you also had vajazzled tribbles too. And
Oh, you have man bun tribbles.
Had
And
That's
that's
right.
why
Ones
I
with
try
ear
not
rings,
to leave the
you know,
room
in
if
there.
I can at all help it.
Yep.
But that's a very fun
there were
episode.
dreadlock trifles too,
That's right. Cornrow tribbles.
Beehive tribbles.
Viking, braided hair Viking tribbles,
Sweet mother of God, what have I done?
You stepped away from the microphone, sir. Shame
No,
on you,
but I
Captain.
know better. I know better, but I did it
Roman,
anyway.
you told us to vamp. We are vamping.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
And
doing your
it's
job.
not the
Yeah.
I know
the
I know,
format
I
of the
know, I
show.
know. I
We
should
can't
just leave the
proceed
earpiece
forward
behind. I
talking
caused
about the rest
myself
of the movie.
so much. So
Yeah,
oh dear God.
When
Yeah.
Dad
Do you
leaves
think
the
Chris-
room,
do you think-
he just
Go ahead, Jacob.
no. I
Gordon.
just
go.
said when
I
Dad
don't know
leaves
what
the
happened.
room, we got
Yeah, yes, I know. Yes.
I think
So
Chris
that
Pine
was-
wears tribbles for his eyebrows.
Eyebrows.
Yeah, he's got some thick tribbly eyebrows.
All right, let's go back to the list here. And Mags, I know you are on a time limit. When do you need to beam out?
beat me up, Scotty. I probably need to bounce now so I can start getting
okay.
everything set up and making
right,
sure everything is
well,
good to go.
cool.
But thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm sorry that I didn't send
No,
you any.
No, it's all right.
episodes.
No. It's,
Oh,
so,
God.
I'm
What?
disappointed. There's
No,
no
it's
time
funny.
for.
This is what do you got? I mean, what do you got coming up that doesn't conflict with my show tonight that you can talk about?
Well, I probably will have to move the time slot because I forgot I was going to go to a thing, but I'm going to have an unboxing on Saturday.
Excellent.
So people come up and show up because I haven't opened it or anything. A friend, a really cool friend of mine who's a really sweet and generous person sent this to me because she knew I've been wanting it for a while, and they wanted me to open it up and have some sense of joy with it, and I really appreciate the person who did this. But yeah, it come around. It's a live unboxing. It'll be a live stream. You get to see me do it live on my on my
wait.
my ring
What do we
doorbell. What?
It's a bunch of Backstreet Boys stuff, I bet.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm totally not showing up.
So Mags is going to open her box and show her Tribble.
What's in the box?
I'm sorry.
It's Gwyneth Paltrow's head. Yes, I'm back.
It's gonna be like a Jack. It's gonna be like a Jack in the Box, and you just go boing.
Yeah. That's the sound it makes.
I do know what it is because I had to I had to order it. It was a different type of circumstances, but I had to order it. So basically, the person kind of helped get me to that point. For lack of a better term, because I don't want to reveal too much. They want to remain anonymous because it's hard to explain it, but it's not cheap. So
it's in sync stuff.
It's something that I've always wanted, and I've never been able to get quite right away because I've had to move my monies around for stuff. So it's been on a wish list, and I get to open it, but I know what it is, but you don't, and I'm going to show it to y'all. So.
Man, she's got a J.J. Abrams mystery box going here.
It is.
Yeah,
it was all a dream.
Yeah,
well, I am really happy you were able to join us tonight. I know we were not always able to line things up, and I'm really happy you're able.
Well, every time you invite me, it's things that I'm just like, I have no knowledge on, Roman.
Max, just swing it like I do. I have no idea
Copa
what Star
literally
Trek
has
even
no
is.
idea.
He was asking me to come on for like a comic stream and then like a Last of Us stream, and I'm like, first of all, I'm a bona fide. I will say I'm a bona fide noob at comics. Don't even want me on that show. People will cancel me for that. And two, I don't watch The Last of Us like that. Ever since the Neil Druckmann
very few
thing,
people did.
I
Mags,
just know.
Fair, so.
Hey Jana.
Yeah, Mags, more importantly, do you have Mr. Tickle Trunk in support today?
I think so. I just contacted him to make sure. I was like, "Are you up for tonight?" So, you know how it is when you have a bunch of people or have somebody with you. You want to make sure they're going to be there.
Right
so
on.
yeah, but yeah, thank you, Roman. I appreciate this. It's been fun actually walking down memory lane. And even though I haven't seen this episode in a while, just being able to talk about it even from memory, and just it is a childhood favorite of mine, and I know it was definitely before my time, but of course a lot of us grew up on a lot of the reruns, and I am definitely old school Trek and old school Star Wars. So that was what I grew up with. So it's a good nostalgia, good happy nostalgia. So thank you, Roman.
Right on, and thank you for being with us tonight for this walk down the intergalactic lane. Nice.
So if anybody, if once y'all are done and I'm still live, come on over and watch me game streams.
Yeah, watch our game with Tickle Trunk.
All right, bye y'all.
Right on, Mags.
Okay, Mags.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, live long and prosper.
I could do it with both.
I can't do it at all.
Don't get me started. I can do this all day.
I just live long.
At least I'm not that stupid Star Wars author that didn't do this on a Star Wars call. I know what I'm doing with Star Trek. So
that's very true. Well, Mags, may the Force be with you.
Stop it. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye, Mags.
All right, always good to see Mags.
Hey, Roman. She reminded me. I used my power of scissoring earlier to make you a gift.
Ooh.
Your Ponfar fingers.
Oh, here we go.
My background.
That very nice. that's getting the Vulcan vibe on.
Oh,
you know what? And speaking of Ponfar, actually, Copa, let's do you, but that doesn't sound right.
Let's do me. Come on, guys.
I got some Ponfar fingers right here for you.
Yeah,
Copa.
there's 9 in the chat. Let's go. I'm all looped up.
This is right? We brought this episode up earlier, and this is also. I mean, these are all favorites, which is, I mean, it's. There are Star Trek episodes out there that are not favorites. Spock's Brain is probably at the top of that list.
Even Spock's Brain is better than every single episode of Picard, Discovery, Enterprise, Anything after Voyager, Spock's brain is better than it.
So if anybody is near Nerdporial, let him know that the door is open.
Wow.
So
That
Arena.
sounds sexy.
And that's
Really?
not
After you invited me to the group session, you're
What does
just
that
going to
mean,
say the
bro?
door's
What
open
does
for
that
him too?
mean?
Alrighty.
You know, it's things like this. So, oddly enough, so now we are talking about Arena from Original Trek Season 1, Episode 18. And the episode numbering on this, I'm never sure if it's right or not. I always feel like it's off by one, but I don't know. But again, you have one writer, and that's the thing you see with all of these episodes. He
wrote a bunch of Trek episodes. I remember him, Gene Kuhn, because he died the year I was born.
Oh, yeah, Gene Kuhn was fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I mean,
I
think Gene Kuhn wrote Devil in the Dark too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. I think he wrote a lot of these early.
I know he wrote Devil in the Dark. I can tell you for sure.
Okay.
He wrote a bunch
All
of
right, I'm going to bring it up and let's start walking through this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit about the plot. All I care about is this damn Gorn.
Walking this way, that's what Gorn does.
Really,
the Gorn's beautiful, dude. I mean, the creature design is so good. I mean, I can't tell if it's 60 years ago or today. That's how good it is. And the special effects in this episode is it's just
some
off the charts.
Worst in cosmic history.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so we're what we do? We just beam down into this planet and we're taking mortar fire like right away, right?
Yeah, they were lured to this planet by what they thought was a communication from the Commodore who was here, who was supposed to be a great host. So Bones was really excited. He thought he was going to get like a really decent meal. And then they beam down and everything's fucking blowing up around them.
The Gorn tricked them.
Yes, the Gorn tricked them.
This is the first episode where they mentioned the Federation, by the way.
Really?
Is it?
Is it really?
Yep.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's why I picked this episode too.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're such
well
a
done,
genius,
Copa. Well
Copa.
done.
I nailed it. Yeah. So this guy disappears, which is totally cool.
Yeah,
now, does he get
bombarding them? And this is a weird scene though, because I don't see any weapon that should do this. You hear explosions going up, but you don't see anything that like goes all vapory.
Yeah,
Whatever
they like later on you see Kirk and Spock man a mortar tube that actually does exactly what happened to that dude, right? So I was
is this a couch cushion? I need to know from everybody here, is this a couch cushion?
Yes.
Because it looks like a fucking couch cushion. That's what I thought when I was watching. I'm like, that's a couch cushion.
Yeah, that's totally the casting couch.
One of the early explosions gave like almost the whole cast of Star Trek permanent tinnitus.
Yep.
What happened?
One of these early explosions gave almost the whole cast of Star Trek permanent tinnitus. That ear ringing thing.
It was too close. Yep.
Yeah.
So here it is. Here's this thing, and it's got these. That either looks like soap or something delicious.
Nah, man, those are blue.
Wasn't
they all got
able to
blue
decide.
balls, dude.
They look like those eggs you get out of like the vending machine for a quarter when you're a kid. They have like little planes and shit inside.
Oh, right. Either that or nylon stockings.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Or they're the eggs from the Devil in the Dark.
They look like a Nerf mortar.
There's some really cool combat here because the Gorn, they do a feedback thing on Spock's tricorder and explode it. They're fighting at extreme ranges and doing.
Yeah, they don't see each other.
They
never see each other.
This is great because we're getting to see the real how it would work. You wouldn't be fighting guys 10 feet away with the kind of weaponry and sensors that you would have so far in the future.
Right. And Kirk even orders the Enterprise to fire down on them as well.
He wants them to get out of orbit because he's worried the ship is in danger from the same force that wrecked the fucking planet.
But before that, he was telling it to fire its phasers down onto the planet.
Yeah. For whatever reason, the writers and directors for Star Trek original series understood combat better than once we came to the later series.
Well, a lot of these guys were in the war.
I was about to say
that's probably true, but I don't know. I can't say, well, that guy was in that guy. I don't know enough, but you know what I mean. There's a limit. There's even a limit to my knowledge, guys. It's like,
but there was people they could readily talk to that had been in combat. Right. And remember, all the war movies were being that these guys had grown up on, right?
That they were
in the 40s and 50s, and it was a much deeper part. I mean, now, you got Call of Duty, I guess, so kids know about that. But yeah, I think the writers had a lot more.
I wanted to ask Alex if you're still hanging in there with us. Are you there, Alex?
Yes, I'm still here.
So, as far as exposure to Star Trek over in the UK, how did because I know that it is different networking and stuff over there. So, how did you get exposed to it?
Oh, I got exposed to it because I got exposed to Star Trek Next Generation because it was shown on BBC Two over here, and it was later on when I found out my late grandfather watched this all the time, and I think this was broadcast on the BBC. I'm not too sure, but
do you remember? I don't. You may or may not know that if during the 60s was it broadcast over in the BBC, or similar to our schedule, or was it one of those things that you got it months later or years later?
I think it was, but I might have to do some research more on that. But it's just all I remember. Sorry.
No, go.
Yeah, all I just remember is that I was told stories that my grandfather really loved the series. And I think it was Saturday it was broadcast. When Star Trek was on, nothing else was on. Nobody else could watch the TV. He had to watch Star Trek.
That's solid.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they didn't look out like we did with Doctor Who, I think. Star Trek had only ever shown like once on its original run over there. And like here in the US, we had Doctor Who all over PBS for like 15 years.
For the longest time, yeah. But like, it's really funny because the more people I meet from across the channel, the more I realize how much Trek fans, like original series Trek fans, there are on that side. Like, it almost seems like it was a bigger hit there at this point than it was here.
Well, it's a very cerebral show. And it has action, but you have to really think and like put your mind to the show. You just can't mindlessly watch it. And
except for that Tribble episode, you can
pretty mindlessly. My experience living in England was that's the kind of entertainment that they like over there.
If you think about it, Shieldwall, they have lesser of a budget, right? So they have to get cerebral with it. They have to create these stories that don't require too much budget.
Gene
Roddenberry. And that's how you got all creatures great and small. So that mortar that blew the Gorn. We don't know what they're called yet. It scared the shit out of them though, and they were retreating. They left the planet. And Kirk's ordering all the medics to beam down, try to find survivors, and they're beaming back to the ship because Kirk was pissed during the battle on the planet. He wanted to be on Enterprise. Because that's what he kept saying to Sulu or to Spock. He's like, he's like, Jim, you need to be down there. And he's like, it's my ship, Spock. I'm supposed to be up there. And he did not want to be on the planet while the combat was going on because he was worried that, the senior officers, because you'll always beam all your fucking senior officers down, are all on the planet while this battle in space is going on because they got, taken off guard by this trap the Gorn set.
So to follow up with someone said before, what happened is in the U.S., it was declining in producibility, I guess you would say, not so much popularity due to expenses and actors and all that. And just as it was fading in the U.S. and they were going to cancel it, it started showing other countries and proved really popular. And then literally like 2 years after they canceled it, it became so popular. That's when they wanted to revive it for the Star Trek Phase 1 or whatever that series was supposed to be called. And then eventually became Star Trek the movie. So had they gutted out 2 more seasons, Star Trek probably would have aired on TV for like 10 years.
But they didn't, sadly. Or good. It's one of those things you don't know. It could have, although season 3 wasn't phenomenal, it still was better than 90% of stuff you still get.
Roman, can I just mention something for a minute? I've just looked up. When Doctor Who finished in 1969, Star Trek was broadcast on it was the 21st of June, the last episode of Doctor Who with the second Doctor, and then they showed Star Trek on the 12th of July.
So that makes sense.
Doctor Who went off, Star Trek came on.
Yep, and then
That
it
is
was
cool.
moved to Mondays and Wednesdays afterwards.
So here's an interesting thing is I remember as a kid watching on Saturdays, I think it was, I'd watch cartoons, then I'd watch an episode of Doctor Who, and then Star Trek would come on. So I feel like they're, in a way, they're kind of similar vein shows somewhat, as far as, they're kind of sci-fi. You have to think. You can't just, it's not a cartoon that you're going to mindlessly watch or anything. So your brain stays in the same mode when you switch shows.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense to put these two shows back to back too.
Definitely.
Right,
exactly what you're saying, Shieldwall. Like,
so I like a lot of what happens here because Kirk, people are like, Starfleet, the exploration thing. It's not the military. So Starfleet is the military. There is not a question about Kirk is pissed, and he is going after the Gorn.
Yeah,
because they killed everybody on that planet except for like one dude. So he's Vengeance Kirk.
Yeah, he's Vengeance Kirk, like 100%. That's what I love about this. And then he ventures into unexplored space as well.
And Spock is like, Captain, we may want to try a diplomatic solution. Kirk actually puts Spock in his place a couple different times because there's a point where during the pursuit, Spock, I forget exactly what he says, but Kirk is like, "Do you understand my orders, Mr. Spock?" And Spock's like, "I do." And Kirk's like, "I'm delighted." And then he moves on. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, barbs.
And then, because the Gorn ship is stopped. And everybody's like, "What the fuck? The ship is stopped." And Kirk's like, "We have him now." And then, the classic Enterprise comes to a halt stuff. I love the actors just leaning hopefully in the right direction.
This is the direction. Lean right.
Yeah, let's
lean left.
On the Enterprise, guys.
You in the back fall down. Yeah.
Someone blow a conduit now.
The Metrons. You're all fucking animals. We're going to bring you down to the planet and let you kill each other like civilized animals.
Turn view screen on Predator mode. Thank you.
So, you got these Metrons who are like these super advanced species who bring them down because they find violence abhorrent. So they don't want to just random throughout their sector. So they're going to bring down the captains to fight it out mano a mano.
And later on, we find out it's just a race of twinks.
Yeah, that's a little weird, man.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I'm sorry, they were twinks, dude. Like, and they were just watching dudes fight lizard people. It was weird.
Well, like we all haven't done that.
Ahura's
that's very true.
Reaction here is funny. I thought.
Yeah, when he's gone, Ahura gets up and she actually screams.
Ahura is like, yeah. Everybody else is like, "What's wrong with this bitch? This bitch is just
what?
You've
never seen a transporter before? What's wrong?
Yeah. What? You never seen Kirk disappear out of thin air before? He literally does it in the next room.
Well, this might be the first time they ever saw it.
Yeah. Ah, there it is. Look how. See this? Now you tell me. Was this done 50, 60 years ago, or was this done last week? I can't tell. Like, he looks so good.
It's so bad. You can solid mask.
I love that it kind of looks like he's wearing an ascot in this shot.
That's the best part. I was going to say is the top part is made out of like some kind of curtain.
Baby.
Yeah, right.
It's still a really fun episode.
I'm a civilized predator.
Hey, let's give him disco eyes. What do you think?
Okay. What the fuck am I looking at?
He's like, what the fuck? He's like, oh man, this show's getting canceled.
Hey, Roman, real quick,
and the same dude who designed the triple designed the Gorn.
Hey, I see.
Yeah, Trek tutorials here. Also, Jacob said he's got to go pretty soon. Same with Mr. AWK. So
I got 30 minutes left.
Oh, you got 30 minutes. Well,
okay, got it.
All right. But
let's welcome to the stream. Let's pull everything back for a moment. Mr. Trek Boyle Star. Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
Hi. How you doing?
Welcome.
What show are we watching, or what show are we talking about?
Well,
never heard of
Card.
That depends on
Card all the time.
Yeah,
we're talking Star Wars, dude.
Star Wars.
The one with Harry Potter.
Is that the one with the Death Star and the Gorns?
Yeah, that's the Death Star and the Gorns, and then they head to Mordor and destroy the ring.
Yeah.
And they say, "You're a wizard now, Harry."
Yeah, the wheel wills as the wheel turns. So yeah,
walking through the Death Star,
that's what you stepped into, my friend.
I love Arena. Like, Arena was a major palate cleanse when I was covering Picard season 3, episode 4. It was just, my gosh, it was just so boring with all this feelings and feelings and feelings and feelings and feelings. And
I don't even call this episode the Arena anymore. I call it Gornhub.
I love this because it's got that old West vibe going on.
Yeah, I mean, the standoff is pretty hardcore because it only matches the fight that we're about to watch.
Oh yeah.
Oh god damn it.
By the way, did you know that
actor who played is happy that he didn't have to show his face?
By the way,
how do you know that it's not his face, dude? That looks so real.
150 years from this point, Raffi's going to be living in a trailer at this location.
I can buy it.
Yeah.
This is actually where this is.
They film all the time out there, somewhere in California. Out there.
Yeah, that's like the Mojave Desert, right?
Yeah. That's Vasquez Rocks, right outside LA. So
yeah. Well, real quick, Roman. So we got a couple of people that are coming up against
AWK. You got to pull out, buddy.
Yeah, well, I'll keep it going until you're ready to discuss the episode I like, or
wait, what?
Oh, I was going to wait until.
You're going to hang in?
Yeah, hang in for a little while until I just talk about the episode I like.
Okay, got it.
We'll do this next.
Okay, and then Jacob said he's got about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and then Blair's got to go soon too.
Okay. Oh dear Lord.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my God, they're dropping like flies.
We're gonna have to do a part 2 now. We're gonna have to a part 2.
Is it my Gornhub comment, guys?
It could have been the Gornhub.
Yeah.
I met the suit actor.
They're coming after people.
I met the suit actor a couple years ago.
You met this guy?
Yeah. He's like 90. He's like 92 years old. He was still doing. I don't know if he's still with us now, but he was doing the Las Vegas convention for the FNT meetup back in 2021. So I went to.
Wow.
Yeah, he was there. I got his autograph and everything.
Is he still that jacked or no?
No. Like I said, he's 90 years old. He had a hard time writing the autograph, but hey, I was glad he was there.
Nice.
It might be a bit much to be that jacked at 90.
The comics and cosmetics. My grandma has that same.
Just imagine wearing that rubber suit in that heat.
That must have been horrible.
Imagine
that's before there was actors had human rights. So
that's true. Yeah.
Remember how slow the attack was?
No, it was terrible.
What are you talking about, dude? That's like John Wick 4 levels of choreography.
For some reason, from like 1965 to 75, they thought making things look slow on screen make them look fast. It was all over the place. It wasn't just this. It was $6 million man.
Just in case anybody's curious, it did not make it look fast.
But for some reason, a whole bunch of people in production thought that. In multiple series.
I thought they got Bruce Lee from Green Hornet to come coordinate this. I really did. Like, you guys are just blowing up my spot right now with this.
Kirk, this is like my feelings. I love the episode, but I laugh at the episode. It's one of those things.
It's total cheeseball, dude. You can lick your fingers to this episode. It's so cheeseball.
is just like the Gorn is like standing there like, and he just throws his giant rock at him, and the Gorn is so slow he doesn't move. It just hits him midsection. Then he's like, "Fuck off! I'm throwing a giant rock at you."
Yeah, but look at those lats, bro.
No, he's clearly been hitting the bar. So he's been doing his job.
Yeah, I mean, who can throw a boulder like that? Jeez,
Yeah,
that's
man.
a real boulder, by the way.
He's on Gornroids.
Groids.
Right.
So he's got this crazy little device too, where he can like speak for some kind of what they say, like an
it's
archive.
basically a universal translator.
He's got a.
He doesn't know because he's dumb. He doesn't know it until the Gorn talks into it. He thinks he's just making a log, and the Gorn's
No,
like,
it's a universal exposition device where he just speaks plot into it.
Yeah.
And now they're both like making their traps, and this is kind of funny. Kurt's trying to figure out what he has for a weapon because they said there would be weapons on the planet, but you have to figure them out. The Gorn makes the worst trap in history. It's so bad. And Jim's kind of wandering around. He's finding shit. He's like, diamonds, rubies. It's a treasure, but it's all useless to me.
Or is it? Yeah, he's got to speak it in the exposition device first.
He thinks he's transmitting, to Starfleet or something.
Then he's watching the Gorn make his little knife, and he's like,
that
looks like a rock.
I just love the fact that the Gorn walks slower than my grandmother, and Kirk is just staying in this little 50-yard radius area. Like, I can't get away from this dude.
He's pushing the rock.
Tiny little.
Well, no, he's trying to kill the Gorn. He's trying to figure a way to kill it.
Yeah, and that's a tiny little planetoid.
It's a rock falling towards me.
Yeah, here comes some styrofoam. Yep. Yeah. Now, see, I got strong Predator vibes from that scene. Like when Arnold, when Arnold traps the Predator underneath the log and stuff like that, and he's coming down to kill it. Yeah, totally got strong Predator vibes from.
Although the interesting thing there is, Kirk pauses a bit because his nature is not to kill things indiscriminately,
right?
And that's what allows the Gorn to sort of recover.
Yes, because the Gorn's fucked up here, but then he gets up almost immediately, but not long after.
Yeah, like if Kirk had charged in with a rock and braid him, it would have been over.
This terrible trap though. It's like it looks like a trap. Like, what are you doing?
I know what,
like a dummy.
I know what show got inspiration from that. Kenobi with the laser gate.
Oh yeah, the laser gate for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't possibly go around this. So
I must run through this obvious trap.
I'm convinced that it sounded cooler in the script than what the action.
It had to because it didn't come out very well on screen.
I just don't understand how they showed up on location with that set piece and went, like he's not walking through this thing. He's going to figure out how to go through it.
Those are space vines, guys. Space vines.
I don't understand. Like, did anybody else feel like Captain Kirk got his leg almost broken by that styrofoam rock? I did.
He should have gotten his leg broken by that styrofoam rock.
I really felt like he was pinned down by that styrofoam that was shaking around while he was untying himself and getting.
He's a very strong man.
I mean, if that was anyone else, but it's Kirk,
It is Kirk. That's true.
So then he's starting to figure things out.
Spray paint
discovering
on the
different elements.
Graffiti on the side of the canyon here.
Just random sulfur on the canyon here, spread evenly. That's nice.
So now they're able to watch. They're watching it on the starship now, though.
Yeah. So this is another part that I really like about this episode. Yeah, I love the fact that we get to watch the fight scene on somebody else's screen for a good 5 or 10 minutes. I thought that was a really cool, innovative thing to do. I'm just
Spock is
this was stupid.
Trying to talk to him. He's like, hey, man, I hope because Spock can figure it out from space. He knows what these elements are, apparently.
Yeah, but Spock wouldn't need them. Spock would just rip the Gorn's arms off and stuff it up his ass.
That's true.
What I like about scenes like this, especially in the 60s, is when they show like a view screen, it's always like, oh, let's cut to the action. And then the action is like someone on a handheld camera and it's like zooming in and pulling out and walking around and stuff like that. And I'm like, what is shooting this footage that you guys are watching back on ship? And can you fly it into the Gorn's eye?
Dude. It's the
What I want to know is there a popcorn dispenser on the bridge?
Right? Hey, can someone dim the lights a little bit?
So this is the Gorn. The Gorn actually stalks the Kirk finally over his little device.
Basically saying, be merciful and quick. Captain, stop running.
Finally, the Gorn has come back.
Yeah, that was Ted Cassidy's voice. He was uncredited, but yeah, that was his voice.
I also like the fact that Spock is actually cheering him on, and I'm not being sarcastic in this part. He's kind of cheering him on. Good, yes.
Yeah, because Spock knows all the science.
Yeah, but
he knows how to put together gunpowder.
But everybody else watching the movie right now, they're like, I don't get it, dude. How come Spock knows the plot before we do?
I loved how McCoy was like, we appeal to you in the name of civilization. Put a stop to this. That's my man McCoy.
I love how he says when he's finding all these elements, there's something ancient. I wish I could remember.
Yeah, he's like sulfur. I wish I knew it was used for. Damn it.
Smell.
They the showrunners deliberately did not say exactly how to make gunpowder in this episode. It would never have been a lot there. If they had.
Thank God, because it wouldn't have worked.
Yep, and it would get us banned off of YouTube these days.
Oh, totally. It's sort of like Fight Club. Fight Club, the movie. They had to deliberately change how to make what was it? Nitrogen. Yeah, nitro.
No,
but in the book, but in the book, the ingredients are factual and true.
Yeah.
But to learn gunpowder, you just go into that's what I did for this episode. I went to the library. I think I was like 10 when I first saw this, and read up on gunpowder, knew how to make it like the next day. So it's, I mean, you could very easily
American television.
Yep.
Good.
Where'd you learn how to be a chemist? I watched a lot of Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
and,
the producers were probably like, we can't have little kids watching this and then going out and making gunpowder.
Dude, bro, it was the 60s. They were out there like,
they don't need to make it. They can just go down to the store and buy it.
Kids were making their own firecrackers.
That's actually a good point, Shieldwall. You're right. We could just go buy shit like this back then.
Yeah, we made
Kirk ripped off a bit of his pants to make a wick of some kind.
Dude, watch out.
He's pointing that big stick at me.
Right. He's pretty quick though, that Gorn.
One thing I never noticed until the Blu-rays came out was that you see the pieces of the diamond sticking out of the Gorn, and there's blood.
Yeah.
Like in the VHS, I never noticed that.
No, I didn't either. It's just like you said there around. But yeah,
it might not have been there originally. What happened is because I have what's called the remastered edition of this, where they clean up the special effects. And the Blu-rays, I believe, have the remastered ones.
Yes, they do. They have both.
Yeah. So the only way to get the original one is to go find the VHSs or the first generation of DVDs for this.
Is that why?
Well, they have them on the Blu-ray too. You can watch them.
Oh, they did put them on that. They didn't go full Lucas and hide them forever.
Oh no, they did not. Yeah.
Is that why the phasers and stuff look so much better than I remember?
Yes. Well, the ships, they redid the entire. They did everything CGI now. Yeah. All the ship sequences are all CGI. They even added ships because how expensive it was. If you saw a ship on the original series, that was a big fucking deal, especially with the budget that they were allotted.
Yep. And it was the same scene over and over again, like always turning left and shit like that.
And usually it was episodes like that always had to have 5 months of post-production because they were adding all these ship sequences and all these new optical effects. That's why episodes like Corbomite Maneuver and Balance of Terror were months late. Episodes further down the production line came out or aired before those for that reason.
I remember watching this like 2 years ago, and I was like, dude, did they add CGI into the show?
Yeah. They updated it, and it doesn't look bad.
Yeah,
But the thing is, if you like the original, models and practical, and the original '60s raw look, it's there too.
Yeah, they didn't really George Lucas the show up.
No,
the guys who did this loved the original and wanted to make it look like the original stuff. They weren't. They were looking to eradicate.
You got to see the Gorn ship in this episode. And that was it's a very small, it's far away, but hey, you got to see it. Because I always wondered, seeing the original version of Arena, what the Gorn ship looked like, because we never saw it.
So Kirk has him down here, and then he decides not to kill him.
Yep.
Because he gets because he realizes that they may have been trying to defend themselves because they encroached in unknown territory like a bunch of blunderers.
Yeah.
But the Gorn's response to
Spock
is a little harsh,
yelling.
to be fair.
But Spock was yelling, "Kill him, Captain! Kill him!"
Yeah.
He's apparently not intelligent.
For the Star Trek V, Kirk would be like, "Shoot him! Shoot him!" That's Star Trek. Yeah, that Kirk. Yeah. But I love that episode for this reason. It just makes the characters more endearing, makes the characters more likable as a result. It makes Kirk just this is a very important episode for the entire franchise.
Yeah, for the speed of the fight stand alone.
Yeah, that too.
This was
but it does the kind of hokey outfit and stuff. It does deal with some pretty serious things.
Yeah, it's especially with the Vietnam War raging, and that's how it starts off in the beginning. It's kind of like an allegory to the Vietnam War.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Are we on the wrong side? We could be. That's what McCoy, because McCoy, once he realizes that they encroached on Gorn territory,
right?
He's like, "Oh my God, we could be in the wrong." And Spock's like, "Oh, that's entirely possible, Doctor."
I think any situation where there's a major conflict, you definitely have to take a step back and look at yourself or the position you're in or the side you're on and say, are we in the right? And that's one thing I think this particular episode did very well.
Yes. The counter to that is, why did the Gorn just annihilate the colony and try to say, we'll get off our planet or whatever?
That's the other.
Because they're assholes.
Well, yeah. I mean, the point I'm getting is they presented both sides of the issue. It wasn't like, the Federation went in and killed off a million Gorn and took their planet, So.
No, and the other thing was they lured them. Now, here's one issue I did have with this episode. They lured them into a trap in the very beginning.
Yes.
They beam down and then they get mortared to hell. The question is, how did they not detect that that Cestus 3 was destroyed? And Cestus 3 was destroyed a whole day before they got there.
Yes. You're Vampire.
Well, he just ruined the episode for me, guys. That's just wrong, bro.
Yeah.
This was the first episode that me and my friends coined the term Kirk karate from the fight.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love Kirk's go-to move of like hugging his hands and trying to karate chop somebody.
Yeah.
Like this.
The double-handed. Yep.
The double-handed punch.
The double action. It's called the double action.
He fights Tom like that too.
What the commercial is for. But there's a commercial. There's a commercial with Kirk and the Gorn, and they're playing a video game or something, and the Gorn gets mad and throws the controller or something.
Yeah, that was for the Star Trek. That was for the video game. So you know how they made 09 and Into Darkness? Well, the game was supposed to take place in between, and the villains in that game were the Gorn. And so that's why that commercial was hilarious, though. William Shatner playing a video game.
Yeah, William
Shatner.
I'm too old for this.
And then they get tired because they're trying to. It's so stupid. It's so funny.
By Grapthor's hammer, what a savings!
And that's when I had good feelings about the Abrams movies. Man, was I a sweet summer child then.
Wow.
As soon as I saw that the engine room looked like a boiler room in a stadium, I was like, I'm out.
It looked like something out of a Super Mario game. All those pipes.
Yeah.
It looked like you would think a Goomba or a Koopa Troopa would come out of those things.
Well, how could you see it over the lens flare?
The engineering section of the Abrams movies hated it.
I can't stand the Abrams movie.
It doesn't even look like an engineering section in like modern ships. It looked like to me, it looked like a brewery. is what it looked like.
Right.
It's
Well,
like-
that's because
It
it was a brewery.
Well, the
They
problem
actually
I
filmed
have
in
with-
Los Angeles.
The problem I have with Abrams and Star Trek is he tried to turn Star Trek into Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Like there was no cerebralness to the show anymore. There was
And
no,
then he fucked up Star Wars as well.
and then you're like, oh, why don't you come over here and do Star Wars? And he was like, okay, I'll go fuck that up too. Thank you.
You motherfucker.
Jesus Christ, dude.
So,
that guy.
So Kirk doesn't kill the Gorn. The Gorn fades away, and
Yeah, his
doesn't know what.
parents
Jim's
parents
like-
in the future aren't getting married.
And then Jim's like, "What the fuck am I looking at?" Hello.
Hi there, boys. Oh, are you in the Navy?
The Metron.
And now we're in suddenly we're in
Twink.
Thailand.
Yeah, right.
Hey, look, it's a lens flare. It's a lens flare.
See, look, Star Trek had
Totally.
trans people
There is
first.
a lens
They
flare.
did
You're right.
everything
This is a
first.
lens flare.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
an anamorphic lens flare, so it's different.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
different.
So the
It's not a
Metron
J.J.
explains-
Abrams.
We thought you were a complete fuck up of a species, but there's hope. It may be in 1500 of your years or something like that.
You look
we'll
like
be able
me.
to talk to you or something.
I don't want to. Yeah.
You'll all be wearing dresses and not have genitals, just like me.
Yes.
Well, they're
All you
definitely
gotta
not
do-
ready by Discovery season 3, which is supposed to be 33rd century. Oh wait, sorry, wrong show. That show doesn't
Oh,
exist.
God damn that show. And then Kirk's back on the ship. He's all clean. None of his shit's fucked up. Are you okay, Captain? He's like, I can't honestly say. I just saw this weird species. Spock, you're looking better. Would you like to go down to my quarters later? And that's it. No, but you know what Jim
And written
should
by
have done?
Gene Coon. Look at that. Another one by
Another
Gene
one by
Coon.
Gene
That's
Coon.
was that the third one that we've all picked.
So one of the things that I didn't like about this episode, and it's not like a big dislike. It's not, and it's
You
not
don't like
any
the
of the
coon
things.
there?
Not that,
They're racist.
Kirk hitting him on the side of the head. What I didn't like was that Kirk never told Spock, you know what, Spock, you were right. Because this is one of those ones where, like I said, where Spock and Spock was challenging Kirk a lot on what he was doing, and Kirk always because Kirk was in the red though, he wasn't making fully rash decisions. He was kind of working with what he had. I got that, but Spock was presenting him with, maybe if we should look at it this way, and Kirk's like, fuck off, Spock. Get to your damn post and blast the fuck out of them. And
Yeah, I mean, he literally says a crime's been committed, and they basically were basically repeating similar beats to Balance of Terror, where they had to chase the enemy ship before it could get back to its home.
Right.
And the only thing was, it didn't turn out to be a battle. Our expectations were subverted. But I think Kirk figured it out once the Gorn said, you were intruding, you established an outpost in our space, then he kind of, then his little arc kind of, came full circle after that. But yeah, I kind of agree. Like, he probably should have said something. I forget what exactly they said.
I don't
I think they were talking about the Metrons at the end. He's like, we're a promising species, Mr. Spock. I think that's what he said.
That's where it ends. And they smile and everybody laughs and they go off screen. But Spock was more right in his response.
Yeah, because he said invasion. Because Kirk says invasion, and Spock's like, not necessarily.
No, you're the invaders.
But he was.
But Gorn's response was not, balanced to what happened. That colony or that outpost didn't just pop up. It takes a minute to go. Zim, it was always good to have you here. Thank you for dropping in. Really do appreciate you, Invader Zim. That outpost didn't just pop out of nowhere. It takes a minute to build an outpost. So this was going on, and the Gorn are like going, what's going on over on that planet? We're so slow. It's going to take a long time to respond. And by the time they respond, they actually have a full outpost there that they attack and destroy. That is not the act of a rational, society. You send envoys saying, "Hey, fuck off, Flaccid. I love you." You send envoy saying, "Hey, just so you know, you're building in.
Blair's gone.
What? Blair! No, fucking wizard.
Well, he's tired of Gorn porn, dude.
Yeah, but Roman,
It'll do it every time.
I consider. I mean, obviously, it's us as fans speculating because they don't really detail much of this. But I mean, consider like a Trick World. Remember the whole from the Orville, their whole species exposure to humanoids was being tortured for like how many years, so they naturally responded with wiping them out. You're talking maybe the Gorn, right? Yeah, the Kalan. So like, what if the Gorn were like that? The only other exposed other species was being attacked and just slaughtered left and right. So they just developed it's an exposure thing. Even with us just as humans, if you abuse someone long enough, their first response is going to be to abuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm not defending, say, the Gorn annihilating a colony or whatever, but you got to consider the perspective. I mean, the writers, at least for the original show, were way smarter than most of the writers from succeeding shows, and they clearly thought about this stuff when they put stuff like that in there. Even with you were saying Kirk and Spock's relationship, I think we're supposed to take as a given that Kirk respects that Spock will get in his face because he knows Spock will obey orders when it comes down to it, and so forth. So he doesn't have to say to Spock, "Well, you were right," because that's Spock's job is to get in his face.
It's not really his job to. Spock did it the right way, though.
In the context of how Star Trek is structured, the first officer's job, so long as he keeps discipline and gets order, is to get in the captain's face respectfully.
Yeah, and usually not in front of the crew. Usually,
right.
Pull them aside, and then put out some put out some other suggestions. But once the captain's word is final, that's it.
Yeah,
and Spock always obeys the orders. Always.
He does. Like I said, I don't actually. Spock does a good job with it. There are other officers who do not do a good job with normal chain of command stuff. And I mean, you can say whatever you want about Starfleet. It's a military organization, largely built around naval traditions. So that's the way. Yeah. I mean, that's the way all of this works. And Spock wasn't like overtly questioning the captain's orders like in front of the crew. It was more of an aside to Kirk when he was doing it. But Kirk was just, like I said, he was just blinded with rage about what was going on. He was in the red. He made bad calls. And I do wish he had acknowledged that.
Remember the whole warp thing? Remember how the whole warp thing? Scotty's like, yes, if we do it, like Spock reminds Kirk, like a sustained warp 7 can be dangerous. And then Sky's like, they might be faster than us, sir. And he's like, warp factor 8. And then you hear boom, boom, very, 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 very intense music. Boom, boom, boom.
But this is where you get the dichotomy between Kurt and Spock, where Kurt is more emotionally based and Spock's got to bring him back down. And what's great is that you feel like Spock has rubbed off on Kirk by the end.
Yeah,
of this episode.
Between that and hearing the Gorn saying that.
Your OnlyFans there, page there, Copa?
Yeah.
So hearing the Gorn saying Vader's
OnlyFans though, it's only feet. I sell feet pics too.
That makes me uncomfortable.
But I think the thing that woke up Kirk was the whole he heard invasion, and then think about Spock, and then he just looked at his morality, and he's just like, you know what?
Right.
I don't have to kill him. I'm not. And then, there are a lot of things that led to that moment. I love Arena. Arena's probably the 4th episode I ever owned on VHS. I took really good care of those VHS boxes because VHS boxes always got ruined in this house.
Yeah, I didn't own classic Trek until the enhanced DVDs came out, where you got the new effects and stuff, and I really like them. My only problem with them is that the discs are, with the exception of disc number on them, are fucking just blank discs. So you're like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, it literally took me years to see the entirety of TOS because TOS was not on TV when I was a kid, and it took me years just to collect 50 tapes. Like I bought 50 episodes. At one point, I had 50 tapes. And I still didn't see the whole show until the DVDs came out, the full seasons. Then I finally, after 8 years, I finally saw, or 8 or 9 years, I finally saw the entirety of TOS. So yeah, it was a nice long journey for me. So hunting for episodes at video stores was always fun to do.
Yeah,
Right.
from the point we had VHSs, I've had Trek. Like it was one of the first things my family recorded was Trek. So.
All right, Mr. AWK, I know it is late where you are. It's like tomorrow, I think.
Yes.
It may already be the next day.
Yeah.
So what was the episode that you wanted to bring up?
The episode I want to bring up is Doomsday Machine.
Oh, great!
Oh,
that's Matt's episode. So that's
Roman.
I've already got it preloaded. So this will be a good discussion for all of us.
Hey, Jacob, you said you got to go.
Yeah, I've got to head out. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Jacob. Well, thank you for being here, buddy. What do you? Everybody leaving me. I'm still alone. So, Jacob, what do you have coming up?
This Tuesday, I have Twilight Zone episodes 3 and 4 to go over. That'll be fun.
Which are those are great episodes. It's the Gunslinger and the Actress. I forget the actual names of the episodes, but they're so good, and the episodes themselves have a lot of commonalities in message, but you end up with a very different end result. So classic Twilight Zone with Jacob Ironside, and I'm gonna try to be there. It's my son's birthday, but you know what? He doesn't like me very much anyway, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Yeah, and
I gotta take off too, by the way.
The episodes of sorry.
Is that you, Trek Poriel?
Yeah.
You gonna beam out too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jacob.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Roman.
Take care,
Always
Jacob.
a pleasure.
Yeah, Jacob, dude.
Don't let that raccoon bully you, man.
Yeah, man,
you tell that raccoon who's boss.
That raccoon
You don't let him
probably
push
dead.
you around.
Raccoon was sickly, and he's no longer around. He's died.
Oh my!
But he's not. But he's not sick anymore. So there's that.
What would the Metron say, Jacob? What would the Metron say?
They would say,
I'd rather not look like the Metron in 50 years, in 1,500 years. So
fair enough.
I prefer war instead of looking like the Metrons.
I don't blame you. I prefer to be at war as well. So Trek Poriel, what do you have coming up, buddy?
Oh, tomorrow is going to be Picard's discussion for this week's Picard episode. Excellent. And I'll just say this we watched it. A lot more time wasting talking about feelings and just dialogue that just puts the episodes on hold. And I'm just like, and this is what gets all the hype now. And I mean, if you like it, that's fine. I know there are plenty of people that really like the season.
There are a lot of people out there who have been singing praises for the season.
I mean, it depends. I mean, it's not that good. Like I have to watch TNG and DS9 to cleanse the palate.
Wow.
And there's just a difference. Like you watch those older episodes, they're to the point, they are tight, the scenes are not too long, and the dialogue just like I'll pay attention. I can actually pay attention. I'm watching this right now, and I still have the screen up, and they're talking very slowly, and they're talking about basically nothing. And I'm like, what are they doing?
That sucks. See, I was all excited about it, but now I'm less excited.
Sorry, Roman.
No,
don't take my word for watching. You might like it. I could be just.
I am going to watch it just because I do want to see what all the buzz was about.
It's better.
Really bad. Like for the bad seasons, all the other stuff we've gotten, I didn't even have to worry about it. I was like, okay, this is, and I watched a couple episodes of each one of those, and they were terrible. So I was like, okay, I don't need to watch this anymore.
I think people like it because it's not as this word that rhymes with broke. But that's not really, to me, that's not a reason.
That doesn't make it good.
Exactly. So that's the issue. It has more in common with New Trek. So this series being sold as TNG season 8 or the greatest hits of Star Trek is blatantly, in my opinion, false. So there you go.
Okay,
well, they're trying to sell it as TNG season 8, but I think it's basically just sort of an homage, I guess you would say, to from that one guy who's doing it, the one producer who's left, who he's just throwing some out there for the fans to see. But it's kind of meh, you know. I mean, it's not like
it's just like it's hollow at this point. That's how I feel.
What time's your show going to be tomorrow?
7 Central.
7 Central, so 5 PST. Right on, brother. Right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. It's always good to have you in here. You got a really big Star Trek vein, and I do like to pick it.
Thank you. And I'll just say this: season 1 of TOS is my favorite season of all of Star Trek. Almost every. I mean, there are some episodes I don't like as much, like Mary, for instance. But I can rewatch every episode, and there's always something either new to take away or something I never noticed before. And every rewatch, even Mary, is just valuable and just definitely worth the time. So like episodes like Space Seed, Arena, Squire Gothos, Menagerie, the Balance of Terror. Heck, I even like Charlie X. A lot of people don't like Charlie X. I like Charlie X. I like Mud's Women. All those episodes. Operation Annihilate. There you go.
Every episode of TOS.
Yeah. So yeah, season 1 is my favorite. I think I've watched season 1 the most out of any season. So definitely worth it. So other than everybody, take care. Stay corporeal.
Take care.
Right on, brother. You take care.
All right, take care.
Around the block.
All right. For AWK.
So yeah, so this is good. Like I said, because Matt's had this episode as well, and fuck off screen. Sorry. So this episode is I love the difference between the two commanding officers and their approach to things. Wildly different. So where are we? The Doomsday Machine. And this is another one of those just great classic. This is because I remember this one from when I was little as well. This isn't one that I just remember from being an older person. I remember this when I was a kid.
Yeah, so Roman and I were talking before about this. I mentioned to him anyway. There are two, I mean, there's more than two, but there are two particular episodes of TOS that would make great big screen movies. This and Balance of Terror.
Mm.
So, Mr. AWK, go ahead, man. Lead us through.
Okay.
Oh, and I do want to say hi to the IGP Mexican out there.
Indeed.
We now have representation.
Representation.
Mm. Well, what I vaguely remember about this episode is the way, planets are being destroyed. And it's like, how could it be, the first Death Star or something in a way? But it's a machine that you can't, actually reason with. And it's just going around destroying all these planets.
Yeah, it's a mindless thing built by a race.
Yeah.
Long since dead.
Matt, if you like to help out, Matt.
So the premise is the Enterprise is traveling through space, patrolling its sector or whatever, and they come across a solar system that is basically destroyed, and they're like, these dialogue is something like, Mr. Scott, Mr. Spock is like, well, the planet is. I'm paraphrasing. There's rubble here, and Kirk is like, last year we had 7 planets on our sensors. And then basically the planets are all gone, and then they go in and they discover that there's fragments of planets, and they prove by close-up examination, right? And at that point, then they encounter the remains of the Constitution, okay, which is another Constitution class vessel, right? Commanded by Commodore.
I found this wildly amusing though because of her hull number.
So. That would be the way it worked in TOS. For those who don't know, the ship with the name of the fleet, so to speak, like the Constitution was the flagship of the fleet. That's why Decker is a Commodore. He's the captain of the captains of the Constitution class vessels. Okay, that's what Commodore was, like a fleet captain in the olden days.
1017.
Yeah. So and obviously he and Kirk know each other. Blah blah blah. They recover him, and he's kind of they transport over there. And another point to understand with TOS, they retcon down how powerful these ships were in the Next Generation.
Yeah.
In TOS itself, each one of these ships was capable of slagging a planet. Okay. So when you see the damage that it took, that's how much damage, and it survived shots that was destroying planets. Is basically what we find out later. So
Alex, Alex, why is this the episode that you chose?
Because it reminds me of an episode from a TV show called Terrorhawks where you had something called the Ultimate Machine.
Yeah.
And it was something you couldn't destroy or anything. And it's the Ultimate Machine, they took a lot to try and get rid of it. And this is what it is with the Doomsday Machine.
Is there does anybody else
go ahead, Copa.
Well, I was going to say, does anybody else pick up heavy Star Wars vibes from this episode too?
Yeah.
It's a planet destroyer, right?
That's what I like about this one as well.
This might be the first visual movie TV show type description of a planet buster.
Yeah.
I'd have to go. I mean, Doctor Who might have had one by then. I'd have to research that, because of all the sci-fi movies I could think of with planet destruction, I'd have to check. But this might be the first one. And so they find the Constitution floating in space.
That thing is beat the shit, by the way.
Yeah, they did a really good job. The effects department, the props department did a really good job beating the hell out of the ship.
Yeah.
But what I really like about this episode is that it's Moby Dick in space, because once the captain of the Constellation,
Decker.
Yeah,
and Decker, Commodore Decker is the father of the Captain Will Decker in the motion picture, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice that.
After Commodore Decker dies, Kirk starts mentoring his son, who's a kid when this happens.
Nice, dude. That's a good thing to know.
Yep. So
I like the Moby Dick aspect as well, and the Ultimate Machine aspect of the Doomsday Machine. It's also there's also a novel, Vendetta is the name of the novel, where there is they tie this in with the Borg.
Yeah. They basically in the novels.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
Some ancient species made them. Did the dinosaur people make them?
It's actually tied to another episode of TOS and the same species that made the Great Barrier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so the novel, there's a lone survivor of an alien race who is infuriated with the Borg and wants to destroy the Borg. This is it rhymes with some other episodes. There's one in Voyager like that, where there's a single alien that wants to destroy the Borg. And so in the novel, this alien is using another doomsday machine. And the true origin and the true purpose, the novel, this is again the novelization, so it's not tied to the episode here, but the novelization saying that the doomsday machine's true purpose from this ancient alien race was actually to combat the Borg.
Yeah, there are other novels too. Like in another novel, the Doomsday Machines were coming from another galaxy they've already wiped out, and they're replicating and things like that. So the Star Trek novels are not canon; they're all over the place.
Right.
So they're on the Constitution now.
Still fun though.
It is still fun. Exactly.
I love that. Even though it's not canon, I still love those ideas meshing around. So they can.
There are a lot of great Star Trek novels.
A lot of great ones. They allow you to still play in the universe without destroying the universe. It's adaptation done correctly.
Well, all you have to do is follow the rules set before, and not just make up stuff for one episode that's expedient to your story, and you'll be fine. You just have to
Scotty and crew down in engineering trying to assess what's going on.
Yep.
It looks great though. They did a nice job with this. Everything's dark. It's not, it's not brightly lit. But I do have to worry from a couple screens back. I don't know how anything would be alive on this ship, given the amount of hull damage that has occurred.
Well, really, if you look at if we're still talking about like props department and stuff like that, if you go back a couple frames to the exterior of the ship, I mean, look at the level of detail they actually put into.
Well, this is from the enhanced.
Oh, okay.
So this is later
that
on.
makes more sense to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
I'm like, man,
the
that
original,
detail is just insane.
This is from this is TOS though. Still very good.
It's still good.
Still very good.
In Star Trek technology, there's internal force fields that are on battery backups, so isolating internal parts of the ship.
And they would have lockdown bulkheads so they would still physically seal off sections of the ship.
Just want to bring up, it's great that they didn't need to like build new sets for this.
Yeah, this is all
they just recycled. Yeah.
But they did I mean, you throw a couple pipes in there, you turn some lights off, and it looks like you are now on a damaged starship.
It's that whole necessity is the mother of invention. You know, they only have so much of a budget, and they have to work, and it causes people to work, to think smarter, work harder, and be more creative.
So Kirk finds Decker on the battle. This would be the battle bridge, which I think it's like the only time it's ever shown in TOS. I have to look that up. Which is the backup bridge from the primary bridge that they're normally on. So, and this is a great scene with him.
Oh, yeah,
coming out of shock and talking about the crew is a great scene.
Yeah, he's definitely got some shock on it. So, the rank of Commodore, for those of you who aren't familiar with, it's a rank that doesn't really exist in the Navy anymore. But he's the rank above captain. So
in Star Trek, a Commodore commands fleets of ships. So he's like a fleet captain. Yeah.
Essentially what would be a 1-star admiral is it's same kind of thing.
To toss it to Picard, that's why whoever wrote made Geordi a Commodore realized he's commanding a fleet of ships at that station, and so that's probably one of the smart throwbacks from Picard. You know.
I don't know what that is.
It's in an alternate. It's in the alternate universe.
Daniel denies the existence of Picard.
In another chat live stream in another universe talking about that right now. But we're not doing it.
But someone is.
I just like to bring up his face. It's like the sheer terror.
Oh, the acting.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's another great thing is in these days, a lot of stage actors, people that knew how to project, like Shatner. Anyway, sorry.
And this sets up later on Decker's whole sequence. He establishes in a believable way that he's mentally fried for good.
Yeah.
I mean, if he got back to therapy and but he's this is like an episode of 24. From this point on, they're all in it. There's no downtime.
And these are
hey guys, I need to
men.
pop out for a sec. Give me. Okay. If you need to talk for a few minutes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
These are the old days of men, like you said, like we talked about earlier in the stream. These are guys who went to war. This is the day when seeing a grown man like this, a military man in this kind of state, is a big deal. That you wouldn't encounter someone like this just because he had a bad day. Someone had to go through a hell of a lot to be this shaken up.
Yeah, and the actor who is William Wyndham, I believe it's William Wyndham. Dude, he just crushed every scene that he was in. I mean, he just offered up like an acting lesson every single scene. You really felt for him when, especially when he says like, something along the lines of like, don't you know that I know, like there's no more the fourth level or fourth planet or something like that. It's gone.
Yeah.
Like you really felt his emotion in that scene.
Yeah. And I wonder if the performance was so strong. That was why whoever wrote the motion picture said, let's make Captain Decker his son.
Yeah. But also, I just want to bring out, it's like the Doomsday Machine has like not a relationship, but something like with Vija. Vija collected planets, the Doomsday Machine destroyed them.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of seems like maybe they were built by the same.
Yeah.
By the same race, right?
That could have been a passive tie-in. Vija is way more powerful than the Doomsday Machine. Like realistically more powerful than the Doomsday.
Yeah.
It's fun to have these mysteries that are genuine mysteries because they never were intended to be solved.
Yep.
Although the interesting to go a little sciencey here, we'll find out that the Doomsday Machine is made of solid neutronium. So neutronium is basically what happened. It's the material that neutron stars are made of. when the mass is compressed,
Yeah.
as small as possible it can be before it passes the Changaskar limit and collapses into a black hole, right? So in theory, if I had like this backstretcher was made of neutronium, right, and if I just held it here, the gravity at this would generate would suck the planet Earth in.
Yeah.
Right. But conversely, since there's not enough gravity to make it neutronium, it should explode and blow the planet up.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you, Mr. AWK, when you saw this episode? Do you remember?
I think I was probably about 19 at the time, because, back then I had to like find these episodes on the internet.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, all of these older episodes I saw on TV, like in reruns or whatever in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Yeah,
it
was
80s.
reruns for me in the 90s because that was when the Next Generation was like roaring on UPN or whatever, and
right.
So they would play like the old original episodes leading into the newer episodes of the Next Generation.
Yeah, I remember if you channel surfed enough, you could literally watch some form of Star Trek all day.
Yeah, dude,
back
for
to back,
sure.
back to back. Yeah.
I had a little tiny like 6-inch black and white TV that my mom won at like a raffle in the 80s that she gave to me that I had in my bedroom with an antenna. So I'd watch this in Chicago on just Chicago broadcast at night in black and white, which was
on
cool.
WGN.
It must have been.
I don't get why we all got WGN. Does anybody understand that? Like we got like a local Chicago channel, like everybody did.
Because it's so flat and the broadcast is so strong that the signal just gets everywhere.
If you look at the United States, there's the Appalachians and there's the Rockies, and between it's basically flat.
Explain to me.
Declines towards the Rockies.
Explain to me how you can get Mexican radio from Mexico anywhere in the continental United States, but you can't get anything else.
But the whole WGN thing is why the Cubs are the most popular baseball team, is just literally because of broadcast reach, and so many people carry WGN.
I thought the Cubs were the most popular because of the Blues Brothers.
No, it's because of their reach of how many people can actually watch them.
The only reason why I know where the Cubs play is because the Bruce Brothers used it as their home address.
Right.
1060 West Addison.
So when I saw this as a kid, because that's why I asked Mr. AWK, he said he was 19, so he probably didn't see the same thing I did. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I was younger than 10. I remember that the Doomsday Machine I thought looked like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
So
because it does.
Does anyone remember what
does.
a cornucopia is?
That's what it looks like.
Too.
Yeah, with all the fruit and stuff.
It's got the little curl on its tail and everything.
Yeah.
I always thought it looked like one of those worms that aren't closed off, but they have the teeth at the end. They're like flat.
Like a tapeworm or something.
Like a tapeworm, exactly.
Yeah.
Those eels at the bottom of the ocean that eat, like, just suck things in and eat them.
Yeah. And if anybody's played the older game Star Trek Online, this was one of the missions that you could do.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, what was great about the game is they had the missions, they called them episodes, and it was like they took them straight out of the TV so you could play the episode basically. Where they had like the trouble with tribbles, except the story was slightly changed, and there was like a mystery on the space station and stuff. But it's pretty cool because you had to fight the Doomsday Machine, and the only way that you could kill it is you had to shoot it in the mouth, basically, with the special you had a special torpedo that you got a hold of. And then,
they wouldn't make you kamikaze right into the mouth.
No. There's a Klingon dude that helps you, right? And then he sings like this Klingon battle song, and then kamikazes into it.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But he's singing. He was like, "Ooh, cha, woonga, woonga," and he's flying in there, and so it was pretty cool. And I mean, it's all like a kind of a, now it's an older video game, but at the time it was pretty cool.
Now, is this shot from the original, or is this from?
This is new.
That's okay, because I was like, man, this is a beautiful shot too.
It's a I don't understand is why Kirk felt he had to stay. I mean, yes, because the script said so. It doesn't make sense for Kirk to stay on board the damaged vessel, though.
Well, remember, it has classified materials and stuff. They just leave floating in space. The Klingons come along.
Yeah, I mean, Roman, this is almost like a Nimitz class carrier floating out there in deep space. Like you're going to have to at least sabotage it to self-destruct.
Well, if they were going to do that, they should have done that. They didn't do that, though. They were trying to get it back. In the shape it's in, though, there's no way this ship is going to survive.
The self-destruct is based on the impulse engine. So until they come up with that gimmick of using the warp control circuitry to access the impulse engines, they can't self-destruct it. But that's how they beat it at the end. They say it's overload.
Poor Deckard. He just looks like a bag of ass. And I get it.
He needs some Narcan, which is going to be going over the counter.
I think it already is here.
Yeah.
I know a YouTuber that uses his face as his avatar. This guy's name is Admiral Teague, and he has the one where he's like with his hand in his hair, all freaking out, and he's got this show he does called Saving Star Trek, and it's
nice.
So we're at the point in the show where Kirk and Scotty and crew are trying to get the Constitution movable, and now they're encountering the Doomsday Machine coming up on them. It's because they've drifted into its range.
Shieldwall, now that I think about it, this kind of looks like a fleshlight.
Well, this is I guarantee this is the new graphics. The updated graphics. It did not.
Okay.
Yes.
It was more rock-like, and it looked almost like lava rock or some kind of crystal or something.
Yeah, it had like a golden sheen to it too.
This is kind of funny because the site goes back and forth between the two. This is new.
Yeah,
it's coming up behind them.
Before it had more the outside skin or shell was more rock.
It looks like an eye when you look straight into it, like a giant flashing eye.
Let's just say that this is a space vagina that we're staring at.
Yeah. What year did Dune come out? Is this like a space worm? I mean, come on.
Well, when they wrote this, Dune, the book, had already come out.
Okay. So
at least the first one. Yeah. It was
this thing just ingests everything that is in its path, though.
Well, didn't it? I thought it shot a wide spectrum.
It shoots an antimatter beam.
Yeah.
So this is another good shot from the enhanced versions because it does. It looks cool.
Yeah, it does. It looks great.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny too because the difference between what they did with this show versus what George Lucas did to Star Wars is night and day. Like they just did like little touches here and there.
It's just enough to make it, cool visually, but not like, beating you in the face.
Yeah, that 97 remake, that thing sucks. The original's better.
Anyway, guys, I'm going to bail, I'm afraid. Because it's
you gotta, okay, buddy. All right, Alex. Well, thank you for coming by tonight, man. I know it's like I said, I know it's tomorrow in your world. So
yeah.
What's coming up over on your side of things?
Well, at the moment, starting from tomorrow, I'm finally quitting the cigarettes. I'm going to do a 30-minute live stream.
Oh, dude!
My last cigarette.
Congratulations, dude. Are you reading the book, The Easy Guide to Quit Smoking?
No. I'm going full cold turkey.
Okay, good luck.
Midnight. Please don't say good luck because that's my.
Break a leg, dude.
Yeah, thanks. No, I'm going to quit smoking. It's a 30-minute live stream of me smoking my last cigarette, and that's that. And I'm going to be disappearing off of social media and YouTube for 3 weeks. So hopefully, FFSI will be back probably at the end of April. But hopefully, I'll be a different man by then because I've got to break through the habits, and it's going to be a very hard thing because I'm nearly approaching 40 now, and I've been smoking for how long? Since I was 16.
Yeah.
So it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah. What really helped me was The Easy Guide to Quit Smoking by, I want to say his name is Alan Carr. and like you legitimately it legitimately made it so easy just reading the book to do it.
Yeah.
So,
but there's another thing is the reason why I'm giving up smoking. The price of cigarettes have gone up in the UK.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's a major reason number
I
one.
wish that would encourage my son to quit.
But you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and my channel FFFSI that I run with Archer Collin when he comes back from his time machine. Well, comes back forwards in time from his time machine and that,
13, 50, 60s in.
Yes, he's still there at the moment, having a laugh. So, but yeah, everyone take care. Thank you very much for letting me come on the show, and I'll see you probably in 3 weeks' time.
All right, have a good one.
All right, dude. You have a good one.
Yeah, break a leg with that.
Yeah, break a leg.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Wow. Ooh, that's hard. That's going to be hard. I do not envy him the task that is ahead.
Like I said, if anybody's out there trying to quit smoking, I want to say it's Alan Carr. I'll just say the last name Carr. Easy guy to quit smoking. Made it fantastically easy. Like the way he wrote it is you can smoke while reading the book, and then you just kind of choose a date, and then the entire time he doesn't like berate you on how smoking's bad and how it's going to give you cancer or anything. He just kind of walks you through like how you're going to feel when you quit. It's just a phenomenal book, and it helped me quit because I tried quitting 3 times, quitting smoking cigarettes, and then after I read that book, that was the last one, and that was 6 or 7 years ago.
Wow.
Good job.
So question, were like things going good and then like something stressful would happen and then you would go back to smoking?
No. You mean when I quit cold turkey before I read that?
Yeah. I've seen that happen so many times. Like people would be doing good and then something would happen in their life and they would just like, I need a cigarette, man.
You know what it would do it is when I would drink and then I'd be like, oh, I can have one, because you always see the people who you hang out with and you go drinking with them. And the only time they smoke is like when you go out drinking at bars and stuff. But they'll never touch it sober. So then I thought a lot of times I thought, well, I could be that guy. And then I can't. Like,
those people aren't addicted to cigarettes.
Right. It's ridiculous. Like, because I'd rather
alcohol that they're addicted to.
Right. Yeah. They just want to keep pouring alcohol down the throat. But I mean, it doesn't help that I'm the same way. So no. So that would be the killer, is watching other people do it. But or like normal habits, like if someone would call me for like a work meeting or something like that, I would always light up, and then like maybe a couple days after, even after reading the book, my mind would trigger and say, hey, it's time to smoke one because you're about to have like a work meeting over the phone. But that eventually like fades away, especially after the book. Like the book really does prepare you for what you're going to go through. And now I just have cigars once in a while and I'm totally cool. Like I'm not.
Oh, really? You can actually do that? Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm totally fine having a cigar once in a while. 100%. Because the cigars don't have the chemicals that are in cigarettes.
Exactly. Which is why I don't smoke cigarettes. Although
Right.
you see
Because
me smoking, they're cigars. They're
cigarellos. Cigarellos.
They're cigars that are smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing
cheap
is
cigars.
So like, yeah, cigars will have nicotine in them, but they don't have what cigarettes do, which is all those chemicals in there are designed to keep you addicted. And there's also chemicals in there to keep the cigarette burning too. So it's a very wicked thing that they concocted, because a cigar is just like, yeah, you can get addicted to it, but it's more habit forming than it is a physical addiction.
Yeah, I read something years ago that, I mean, not that people could do this, but if you only smoked 1 or 2 cigarettes a day, you would have almost none of the negative effects. It's smoking the 1 pack a day and accumulated the effect.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that both my parents were smokers for all their lives, pretty much, like since they were teens, and then I was growing up around it, and then like, not to blame my parents for smoking or anything, but it was just like I was used to it and used to seeing it. So when I hit 15, 16, like I was smoking cigarettes when I wasn't playing football. Like football season ended and then I was smoking cigarettes. It was the weirdest thing. And then it just got worse and worse and worse, especially when alcohol entered the game. That's when that's when it was awful, because like you'll have like 3 or 4 drinks and then have a smoke, and then that cigarette like intensified what you were drinking by like 10, and then you were like toasted for the rest of the night. And then the next day, instead of just drinking, you're like, well, I can have a smoke. And that's how it started for me. It was the drinking that got me smoking.
Yeah.
You know, that's what this thing reminds me of, is a lit cigarette, actually.
Yeah, kind of like
it kind of does.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a pretty good episode. But like I think I really conflate it now because of how good that mission was in that video game. Like how much fun it was.
If you look at this scene here, those little rocks floating around, I don't think they were in the original. I think they were added.
Nah, those were added. They didn't have that. Plus, this, I'm telling you, this thing is too smooth. It needs to look more like, basically, you know, like you can go to one of the stores where they have those. It's like a rock, and inside is a bunch of crystals. It's all broken open.
Yeah,
it looks like that. Like it's crystals that are all formed on the outside of the body of it. This is much too smooth.
Almost looks like a hose, right?
Well, I mean, if it's made of solid neutronium,
I can't leave you alone for a minute, can I?
Hey, we were actually good this time.
No, it's not like I'm deaf. I can hear everything you're talking about. I'm just on the other side of the house.
We were just talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, dude. That's all. It's right up your wheelhouse.
Yeah, and everybody's just quit smoking. Got it.
Yeah.
Now, I enjoy cigars myself almost every Friday with copious amounts of whiskey.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's one of the great pleasures of life. Churchill smoked like 8 cigars a day.
And then he lived to be like, what, 90, right?
No, yeah, he didn't fuck around. He lived to be a ripe old age.
He was like
and he
95.
a delightfully rotund man.
And George Burns as well was, what, 100 and something when he died?
George Burns. This is what you were talking about. It shoots stuff out of it. Now, this looks way... Actually, this isn't even that great in effect, even for enhanced. It looks very CGI.
Yep.
Everybody's leaning. I like that.
Well, they deliberately they didn't want to make it look like modern special effects. They wanted it to look cheesy like the 60s.
Well, some of the effects are better. Like most of the CGI that they've added into this have been really, really good. That one was kind of like, because we're looking at a single frame. It's not only there for you like a second and gone.
They just made William Wyndham's character look like such a burnout at this point.
Yes.
Like you could tell he's just a flame just burning out.
And that whole bit before with him breaking down sets up everything he does here.
Yeah,
right.
See, this looks good. I like the way this looks because it's not too far out of you know the realm of the time, but it's just nice and clean.
Yeah, it looks really clean because it's a wide shot of it instead of a close up, so they don't have to put that much detail on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where Deckard is fucking pinging on Spock because he wants to take command of the ship, and Spock's kind of like, "How about you straight up fuck off?"
One of the threats that they're facing, by the way, is it's exerting a field in space, in subspace, that prevents them from warping. Well, prevents them from accelerating to light speed. They can still warp. Warp was a form of acceleration back in TOS, not speed. Just no difference. So, and it also prevents from communication, and it's draining on their power supplies.
What's draining on my power supplies is her gams right there. What's up, girl?
Yeah, that's the question. Where's Uhura?
Yeah, that's what I was
going.
And Michelle Nichols doing there.
Uhura and Chekhov, I think, weren't in this episode.
They had like other stuff going on.
Yeah,
other stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, she's got something going on with that hairdo.
Two of the bridge crew weren't in this episode. I want to say it's Uhura and Chekhov.
So Deckard's threatening Spock here that about not turning over command to a senior officer, and Spock's like, "Okay, you've got it. Enjoy it." He as soon as he sits in the chair, though, he looks like a fucking dick.
Yep. Bones should be able to intervene right now. It's like, look, your fleet, your ship has been destroyed. You've been taken down a notch. There's no way that you don't need psychiatric treatment. You're out of here, buddy.
He tries that, but Spock is like, Did you have time to examine him and have evidence you could produce in a hearing? And he doesn't. So,
what the hell? What's going on? That must be where Copa is. Jenna's having to fight off some creature outside.
Now, the one sort of flaw, I mean, plot wise, was Spock. I mean, Spock would have been intelligent enough to try to like use Decker as an attack dog in a smart sense, like anticipating what he might do and say, Commodore, perhaps you and I could examine your battle footage in detail to come up with an actual battle plan and something like that. Rather than just, that's something I would have wrote into this. But they had to have Decker go crazy for this to.
And they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here you got the mouth of the machine. Because Deckard's going after it now with Enterprise, which is supposed to be leaving the scene. That was the end of the whole point. The Enterprise is supposed to be getting the fuck out of there. And then Kirk's like, what the fuck? Why are you guys back? What are you doing?
And there's nothing. And I mean, even if the Enterprise is capable of slagging planets, nothing they have is going to penetrate that neutronium.
No, can't get through that hull.
Nope.
So this is original footage stuff.
Yeah. And that thing is immense. It's hard to describe, like, without drawing humongously stupid sounding numbers, how much power that thing has to maintain the neutronium shell and to generate beams of solid antimatter. It's insane.
Yeah.
And it's giant. You get a better idea of the scope with this shot with Enterprise, which is a big ship, up against this thing, which just kind of stretches off into the horizon as to how big this to call it a ship is not accurate. This machine is.
I remember way back when I was on Space Battles and in the middle of for 10 years the hot versus debates over this, and they said, well, this versus the Death Star was one of the debates, and we went back and forth for like hundreds of pages in this. And I at one point, me and my side proved like they only got blown up by a 90 megaton explosion. And I said, and I did a scaling to the size of the ship and what the inside says. Where inside it exactly is the Death Star going to shoot? Because by definition, the Enterprise, the Constitution exploding, beat it by accident. He just blew it up inside, hoping he would hit something, and it happened to hit it. And all it did was deactivate its engine. It didn't even damage the neutronium.
No, the outer shell is still solid.
Yeah, meaning what happened at the end is Kirk blows that ship up, and some chunk of the ship just happened to hit something vital and knocks it out. That's all that happened at the end of this.
Nothing is going the way they want it to. Look at Deckard though in the back, all kind of slumped over.
Yeah. He's pinching into the cooler. That's what he's doing right there.
The girl in the back's got her ears covered. Spock's got that fucking ear thing in like a weirdo, and Sulu's they're grabbing every control they can.
Spock's like accidentally fall backwards and Vulcan neck pinch him. It's like, oh, sorry there, Commodore. You should go recover in sick bay now.
He wears that earpiece in a couple of episodes.
He does.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to get the broke ass fucking Constitution over there. I don't even know how this ship is still mobile, frankly.
Well, what they're doing is they're routing they're using the control circuitry for the warp engines to route impulse power.
Yes, because the nacelles are not doing a fucking thing.
Well, all the nacelles do back then is generate the warp field.
Yeah. Right. Then Deckard's looking all clever. So this is almost a harkening back. So he keeps the data cards in his hand, things that Kirk puts his logs on. Yeah. It reminds you of the Kane Mutiny.
Mm-hmm.
The strawberries. Mm-hmm.
And what I always like when they went at battle stations in TOS, you always saw the security guards on the bridge.
Yes. No, they did they did do a good job with a lot of military things. There are some other episodes where they things are not as cohesive as they normally would be on a military ship.
Well,
there it is. This is actual TOS stuff.
In some episodes, instead of they don't even say red alert, they say battle stations. That doesn't. So it kind of evolves over the course of the show.
This is nice. I do like these updated shots. And I think Spock was he threatening him here? I know Kirk is pissed off because Deckard's using his ship as a weapon. And Kirk he's like, get my ship out of there.
It's like, damn it, I'm going to go there and kick your ass myself.
This is one of the things they did in early Star Trek too, is they had different insignia instead of just a straight up Starfleet insignia. They had kind of the other wonky things. I have no idea what the fuck this thing means.
That's actually the Enterprise insignia that Spock has on. The Enterprise insignia becomes the Starfleet insignia as a result of Kirk's 5-year mission.
Okay, got it.
So he has on the Constitution insignia.
Okay.
Looks like a pretzel.
It does. I hate that thing. That looks terrible. And I think this is where Spock is threatening him, because that's Spock's threatening face.
Right. Yeah, I saw a poster recently that just has like every emotion listed, and it's just Spock's face, and it's pretty much like that the whole time. It's hysterical.
Spock fakes going to the pond bar to kick his ass.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. Oh no, you are going to do it. You're exactly going to do what you say you're going to do. Look at man. He's just got the eyes. And
I know he looks like he just came off of a Western set.
Yeah, those crinkles.
So they're like right for a film. They're like, okay, here's what you need to do. You need to go and drink yourself to the point of a toxic alcohol the night before, and then come in without any hangover cures.
So Daniel, you know what the fucked up thing about this scene is?
What?
He's only 35.
Holy crap! No way. He really must have a drinking binge for a week straight before this.
Yeah,
but
that was how things were back then. 35 was old. You were middle aged.
Well, he's getting a bit of a boost from makeup.
But I'm just saying the 60s that people, if somebody was 35, they were pretty old.
Spock's like, I am firmly in control again.
Now, I like this fight scene a lot because it shows
the Deckard taking down the dude.
Because it shows he actually interesting things.
Some skills here.
Well, it shows them using grappling in a fight. Because after this, fights for about 15 years become all pure kung fu stuff. Like from 1970 till Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comes around in 1990. Every single fight after this is like basically pure kung fu karate style. No grapples, no wrestling,
You got to remember in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, judo was like this big thing. Oh, I know judo. Yeah. I know judo. Now you just be like laughing. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah,
I know how to fight like John Wick.
Judo Gene LaBelle. He was in the 60s.
So this is the TOS scene. Deckard's stealing a shuttle because he needs to go out and face this thing like Ahab. And then this is the updated version of it. Where shuttle is exiting the rear of Enterprise.
Did they have phasers on shuttles yet?
No.
At this point? No.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
No phasers and no warp travel on shuttles.
Yep, it was just kind of from the ship to wherever it was going.
I prefer it that way. I don't think shuttles should be warping around.
No, I don't think so either. Because they're supposed to be they are like to and fro transport from the primary vessel to wherever you're going. Although with
it's a landing craft.
Well, you got to remember
with transporters though, the necessity of the shuttle.
No, because there'd be times when transporters would be down or might not work through an atmosphere or something.
Right.
The main difference between TOS and TNG in terms of engine technology is that it was very difficult for them to make antimatter in TOS time period, whereas they could literally like the high school kids could make it in TNG era.
That's it. But I just don't like the idea. I'd rather have them using shuttles as landing craft. The runabouts is fine. I don't mind that. But yeah,
no, I'm fine with them. I'm just saying, like, there's a deliberate reason why they had low powered shuttles and no warp and all that, because they didn't have enough antimatter to generate the order of magnitude higher power you need to have engines to have engines that produce powerful weapons. And
at least it's consistent. That's something at least good.
we know concretely how much antimatter they have because in the episode with the creature that sucks blood out of people on a planetary scale, they use like a significant percentage of the ship's antimatter to destroy half the atmosphere on the planet to kill the creature. So we know that how much they actually are carrying from that episode. It's not a lot.
This is original TOS graphics. This is Matt Deckard flying the shuttle into. Oh, scale is kind of wonky here because the shuttle looks fucking huge compared to the size of the mouth.
Yeah, that's not right at all. That should be a little speck.
That could just be, even in the real world, that could just be camera angle, camera distance, and all that. There's a name for that, an actual scientific name for if you ask someone why does the sun look almost as big as the moon, even though it's like so much massively more far away. There's actually a scientific name for that effect. I can't remember at this time, but it's something built into viewable distances.
So this is the original effect. And then this is the updated one where it looks more like the Eye of Sauron. Which I find very appealing. But yeah, poor Decker's just he's going into this massive destroying machine. And he thinks he's doing something or trying to do something, but he doesn't know what he actually has accomplished. Ultimately, he doesn't know, unfortunately.
I think Mrs. Catania was attacked by a raccoon. I was reading chat there.
Yeah,
it's too bad Jacob Ironside's not here. He loves those things.
Yeah.
And Cope would be just still dealing with that, I guess. That's why he's off camera.
He's in a death match with a raccoon right now.
Right.
He may be out fighting with a raccoon.
Yeah, he may be out fighting with his own personal cord.
He does the Kirk with the Gorn.
That's right. He's like, come on, chop.
He finishes up with a rock over the head.
Yeah. Worf used those same kind of attacks too.
So they are reading that when Deckard does what he does, it actually did affect the ship to a degree. So it wasn't totally amazing. It's like, oh, it was just too small. And then Kirk and Scotty come up with the scheme to fucking, if we could just fly this fucking broken ass piece of shit in there and blow our engines up, we'd be cool.
And I love this sequence a lot.
Oh, the end, the countdown stuff is he's going
everything
forward.
From here out, I love, But at the end, when I get to the countdown, and he's like, "Anytime now." It's like,
yeah, I'm waiting. So these are her impulse engines, by the way, in case. And these are her broke ass warp nacelles.
When you say it like that, Roman.
And she can't use the antimatter release because it's deactivated the antimatter on the Constitution, which was happening to the Enterprise, but they still have some antimatter left.
I got a question. Dad, at what point did they come up with ejecting the warp core? Was that at any point in TOS?
No way. No way. That never happened in the original series. Not like that. Not like they had a switch on the bridge, for Christ's sake.
They never had to. But did it come up? That I'm gonna research that.
I don't think so, Matt. I don't think they ever talked about ejecting the warp core.
I'm trying to say, I think Voyager was the first time I saw it, maybe, where like an actual warp core gets shot out the bottom of the ship.
Yeah, I think that might be the case with it's just it's like they would eject sections or it's weird and whatever. I have my issues. This is my Star Trek. Everything else afterwards is desperately trying to be cooler when this was the coolest thing ever.
I had a tape recorder that had buttons like that on it.
Hell yeah.
This is the fun part of it. When they're within range and Kirk's getting ready to press the fucking self-destruct or their rigged version of self-destruct, the fucking transporter pad goes all fucking wonky on them and they can't beam him back.
Now this is an actual lore conflict because it is established that they have other transporter systems in the ship.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have different ones just to get that. What's the crew complement? 400 and something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only 5 people ever leave the ship at the same time. I love the face. He's like, anytime now, gentlemen.
Yep.
This is good because this is a combination of old effect and new effect. So this is all, TOS, but this is the thing in the middle is the new stuff. Like they did a great job with the updates on this. Well, Copa, you're back. Did you fight the raccoon?
No, it wasn't a raccoon. I don't know what they're talking about. She's crazy. There's nothing out there.
Nice.
I liked it better when I thought there was a raccoon. And actually, I was pretty excited about the prospect of a raccoon. I don't know why, but I thought it was fun.
I think it was a wild Jacob Ironside messing with me.
That's why I had to leave the stream.
Copa, come out. I'm going to
come out, wherever you are.
You can run, but you can't hide.
It wasn't Jacob if it didn't have a shovel.
That's true.
So, man, look at this shot, though. This is great. I love this shot. It's so fucking cool.
So, like you were saying right when I came back in, like it just seems with the added stuff that they put in with the DVDs and the Blu-rays, it's just so subtle it's just a little touch up. That's it.
Yeah, because if you didn't know, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Unlike Lucas with his fucking giant cock all over the screen in the Star Wars updates, which I fucking despise, by the way, George, if you're watching, which you're probably not. You have better things to do.
No, he definitely is.
It's like the difference between good plastic surgery and Madonna.
What's wrong with Madonna, dude? Like, you don't like the look of Jigsaw?
She looks like a fucking Persian, one of those bald cats.
Yeah, man. Siamese cat.
I don't like those cats. Those cats freak me out. And now Madonna.
More like Bruce Jenner than Caitlyn Jenner does.
It's not good. It's not good. It's the opposite of good. Anyway, so I like this shot. It's a cool shot.
It's a good shot.
And he's just waiting, and he's trying to be patient while he's about to fly into the mouth of this fucking thing. This is TOS. This is what TOS looked like.
Yeah.
So again, it's not terrible.
Yeah, but that's a butthole. Let's be honest.
I'd rather watch original 1960s TOS special effects than 90% of what's produced today.
I agree.
Well, yeah, and that's been my argument for the longest time now is
so we got that, and then we go back, and then we had this.
See, that's great though, because it's a wide shot. You don't have to put too much detail into it. You don't have to get crazy with it, But that's
it's not wildly dissimilar to the old school shot.
No, I mean, there's just a lot more detail in it, even on a wide shot. But even this is tangible. You're looking at something that is on a blue screen. You're looking at a model that's on a blue screen. You totally get that. But at the same time, your human eye understands that both things are tangible.
It's the point of the effect is really the issue. This is done to tell a story, whereas modern effects are done for spectacle.
Right. They're done for the effect itself.
Exactly. You can hear when people talk about any modern show. Oh, the shit porn. Oh, the effects. Oh, and it's like, okay, go watch Avatar. This is storytelling. That's what this is. So if they're doing a shot of the Doomsday Machine, it's because it's a terrible, terrifying machine and it's a grand scale. And you're like you said earlier, it's Moby Dick. You just need the whale and the ship. And that's why, again, the budget being smaller is a better thing. Yeah. It constrains all this insanity with overdoing CGI.
Well, also this, like, we're looking at this shot now for, fucking as long as we want to. In the show, it doesn't last this long. It's there and then it's off. So you're not dwelling on it for as long as we're dwelling on it. Even though I still think it's a pretty good effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Doomsday Machine itself still looks like this horrible consuming engine.
Yeah, and mind you, we weren't watching this on 4K, LED, OLED monitors. Okay, we were watching this damn thing on a friggin' vacuum tube made out of a beaker in like Dad's garage. It's like some primitive piece of technology that was like phasing it in like a bad radio in a Dodge Caravan. It's
and if the TV was old enough, the CRT thing was all burned out. So, you know what I mean?
It was almost like
right.
listening to the radio with somebody turning pages on a book. It's like we were barely seeing anything anyway.
Usually you were seeing this on from an antenna, or you were watching this from a VHS tape that's been duped over like 5 times.
Oh yeah,
beforehand.
your antenna. So you could add snow and static in there.
Yeah.
And signal loss. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. It's you get the old school and the newer.
Yeah.
And it's still a nice shot.
Yeah,
That looks like a painting.
It's cool, whatever. If that's what has to happen for Star Trek to survive into the future, it's like, okay, fine. I'll buy a copy of Mark Twain with somebody's new etchings. Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, because the old etchings were just a little printed out of phase or something. So I want the newer prints. But that's all this is to me. It's like it's not changing anything. All it's doing actually is drawing attention that there are special effects at all.
Yeah, that's totally new because that beam should be orange or something.
Yeah, it's like, come on,
So
continuity, guys.
that's the thing is dying now. Because
the Constitution was like a space enema causing a release.
Yeah, see that corona effect? That's totally new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it just dies out.
Yeah, man. That's
and
totally
they're like, fuck. Did we get him? Did we get him? Did we get him?
Doesn't Kirk say something like, gentlemen, I highly suggest you beam me up now?
Yeah.
Like he's freaking out or almost freaking out.
Yeah, because he is like
about to go. Yeah, he's about to fly.
I'm running out of time now.
Yeah, like I highly suggest that it's now. Dude, that's a space fleshlight. Give me a break.
It is just this big dead thing in space now, though.
It really is. Tell me I'm wrong.
It does. You know what? Star Trek fans, get on that. You know, let's have a destroyer fleshlight case.
Rock that
that's what we need, actually.
I like the green shirt. I know
I got the script.
It's not the classic, but I still
Kirk
like
says,
it.
gentlemen, I suggest you beam me aboard.
There you go. Yeah. I always love that part. It always stuck in my brain.
Then they're talking about Commodore Deckard.
Yeah, like Mr. Sulu.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's the end of the episode.
Let's see. Did Gene Coons write this one too?
No.
Oh, I don't have the shot. I don't have the shot. I'm sorry.
Dang. All right. Because we picked like 3 out of the 5 we've talked about so far has been Gene Coons, I've noticed.
Actually, there's because we picked 10 total for.
And the last 2 lines are appropriate, Captain. However, I can't help wondering if there are any more of these weapons wandering around the universe. And Kirk goes, "Well, I certainly hope not. I found one quite sufficient."
Yeah, right. But if you take that portion too, like, so today we get the message beat across our head all the time. The message. But like with this, it clearly is an anti-nuclear war message, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's more subtle and nuanced and very quiet about it. Like, hey, I think we all understand that nuclear war is bad, but the show doesn't take a stance of like, hey, I'm morally superior than my audience.
It was not Copa. It was written by Norman Spinrad.
Oh yeah, of the famous Spinrads.
Well, of course, yes.
Wait, isn't that the pen name for what's her name? She wrote a couple of episodes. There's a female writer that she had a pen name that she went by.
Well, if it is, she looks like a dude.
No, okay, never mind.
No.
So this is Norman's.
She's one of the. It's one of the twinks.
So anyway, so that's who wrote this episode, though. So I wasn't sure myself.
That dude's still alive.
That's a good question. Wait a second. Let me.
Yeah, 82 years old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good for Norman.
Wow.
You hang in there, buddy. So with that, I think we're going to call it on this round.
Right.
We went through 5 episodes. I'd love to go for another bunch, but I think we've hit our apex.
Yeah, well, since Mr. AWK stole my episode, Yeah.
Which one do you want, Matt? I have the
We gotta
list.
get Balance of Terror in there. No one else picked it.
Okay, so Balance of Terror is fine. That's Balance of Terror is my favorite episode. So for next time,
I picked that one as well. That was the one.
There was
my
no.
top
I have
one.
the note.
Okay, I didn't know.
There were like three of us, and the one I was going to give to you to do the next time Shield Wall is the Enterprise incident.
Okay,
which is another fantastic episode. Yeah. So because Balance of Terror, like three of us picked Balance of Terror, and no one picked Mirror Mirror though. I was really surprised.
No, my other one was
I love Mirror Mirror.
Was Amok in Time.
Amok Time.
Amok Time. Yeah.
Amok Time. Actually, no. Yeah. You know what? That's what I lied. I just lied to you, Shield Wall. I have you down for Amok Time.
Right.
Balance of Terror was just kind of there because there was three of us to pick this, but I didn't want to like throw it at anybody. And then Enterprise Incident was going to be another one that we could carry over if we had carryover, and we clearly have carryover. So anyway, I think everybody must be over watching Mags right now. So
yeah, I picked Space Seed as my second or third one because it's just the introduction of Khan alone, and it was so weird, like growing up in the 90s that none of us, we all knew Khan from Wrath of Khan. We didn't know Khan from being from one of the episodes.
See, I did because I was much older than everybody else.
Right.
But because I remember, and actually, Stephen, you might remember this from your time in New York, WPIX specifically did a big deal about Space Seed because Wrath of Khan was coming out when we were kids.
Yep.
They had like a whole big night of it built up. So that's where I saw the episode for the first time, at least remembering it. So
now, was this a rerun? This is a rerun, or was this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think any of us are old enough to remember.
No, none of us
original runs.
No,
original run. Yeah. No, I wasn't alive.
No,
but
just
I got him a few years later.
Yeah, because remember, we're in 1971, 2, 3. We're like still landing on the moon. There's still a Cold War out there, right? I mean, technology is still accelerating by leaps and bounds. There's a couple of inches added on to the width of the television set every season. Like. Things were still happening, right? It wasn't like 89 where it's like, okay, what's going on here? Or 79 where it's LA's falling apart at the seams and births Frank Miller to write Sin City because LA sucks, right? It's like this was before that. There was still some twinkle in the world we were children in, and Star Trek was all a big part of that, man. It was all a big part of that.
No, Star Trek was a major part of my youth. It was. There was no getting around it. I mean, we used to, have little Star Trek adventures. We'd set up different rooms in my grandmother's house as the bridge of the Enterprise. That's what we did because we watched this show on reruns on WPIX from New York.
I had the original figures. I had all of them. And a friend of mine across the street, he had the Korg and he had some Klingons, and we'd go at it, man. We'd go at it for hours and hours and hours.
I had the big Enterprise fold-out set that had the transporter in it and all that stuff.
You had that one?
I did. I did.
My friend had one of those.
That was gold, man.
Yeah, back in the day. Imagine that, Roman, right? In today's sensibilities, that would be the rough equivalent of like somebody owning an MMO, but you've only purchased a handful of characters that work in that MMO, and you've gone over to their house to play in their MMO. It's like that's over the course of the neighborhood, everybody had almost every single figure within a week of them being released.
I had Spock, I had Kirk, I had McCoy, I had Uhura. And then I had the Planet of the Apes. Things got a little off.
Right, Planet of the Apes made it all complicated because now you had a good
nerds. You're all touching nerds.
But I really liked the first Planet of the Apes. Like
I know.
It was so good.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Plot twist. Yeah, that's like one of the first big plot twist movies.
Damn you!
Damn you, dirty, filthy apes!
And take a look at like the circular time travel scenario that they laid out.
Yeah,
how many sequels did they generate, and how many of them were like
pretty
damn good? I mean, come on.
One TV show.
I think we're up to like 9 pieces of that.
All the modern stuff sucks. It's all garbage.
I don't know why it gets such high praise,
but you know.
The latest trilogy, I just don't understand why it gets.
They suck. They're riding around with
even compare to
2
the
M240s, one in each hand, shooting. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. Well, like I just like they are what they are. They're okay to watch on like a rainy day and you don't have anything else to do. But man, it gets such high praise.
The original Planet of the Apes concluded with apes and humans achieving peace.
Yep.
Okay. At the end of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, they did a time skip, and there were the apes and humans learning together, living in peace.
That was the 3rd movie, right?
The 9th movie, the 6th movie.
Right.
Basically, they go back in time. Cornelius, Vera go back in time. They have the baby. The baby becomes the leader of the first talking apes. That's what Ricardo Montalban teaches him language and all that sort of stuff. And
That's
then,
right.
Yep. And then the last episode is them taking over, and then time skipping to. Then they go to the future episode where the gorillas are trying to destroy the humans and take over and rule a dictatorship, something along those lines. But the humans and the chimpanzees and the orangutans all work together, and then they time skip to like where the lawgiver is teaching all the children of all the different plus humans are apes too, type of thing.
So
you know,
was it the 3rd one where the apes were like servants in a city, and he would like they had him trained to be like janitors?
That was the lead into
that was
the new
that
era.
was that was Battle for the Planet of the Apes or Conquest. Although that was that was the second one in the past. The first one in the past, Vera and Cornelius were in a zoo, basically hiding out with Ricardo Montalban. No, sorry.
Now you're making me try to plan out a Planet of the Apes.
I messed that up. Okay. Ricardo Montalban ran a zoo and was hiding the baby of Caesar. Okay. The first one back in time, Vera and Cornelius basically were like impressing people at the UN, stuff like that. But then eventually the humans got concerned and they killed them off. And then for some reason, years later, let's just make apes and enslave them. Like a little bit of bad logic in there, but I guess they were inspired by the apes that they killed.
Funny leap to make,
you know. So, but what happens is because Vera and Cornelius went back in time, they avoid the virus that makes human beings get really stupid. Even though they have the nuclear war that destroys civilization, they still avoid the virus. You know, and that leads. I know I'm nerding out over Planet of the Apes. I love these movies, and I hate all of the sequels. I hate every single sequel.
No, I don't like the modern apes, man.
No, the modern ones are all garbage. What is it? The 2001?
Oh God!
Yeah, the one with Mark Wahlberg.
That was
the one with Mark Wahlberg. That one was. I thought it had a little bit of promise, like in the very beginning, and then
that was the least worst of. I'll put it that way.
Yes,
it was still terrible. Though.
I agree, Matt. It was
terrible.
The least worst, but the original. How cool that was, the original one.
They
came out in
Guys, you could keep trying all night. I mean, seriously, for as long as Roman will allow the stream to go up, you are not going to drag this conversation into the Planet of the Apes, okay? You're just not going to do it, okay? We're not doing it.
Planet of the Apes.
Damn you damn dirty StephenRansom.
Yeah. It's not happening.
But it was just so good.
Yeah. So Planet of the Apes aside, I am going to hit you gentlemen up for Copa.
Yes, sir.
When are you not available? Maybe that's the best question. I don't want to say when are you available. When are you not available?
I'm available now. Okay, so what's going on is the baby is in breech position. We have to go try this therapy called aversion, where the nurses try to flip the baby back over, but that can trigger the birth. And if that happens, then we have an emergency C-section. We have a kid. So
if I may ask, how far along is she? How many weeks?
She's 8 months. She's 34 weeks.
Oh, she's almost full term.
She's due first week of March.
Yeah.
Full term for those who don't know is 39 weeks. So
yeah. So that's going on. So in 2 weeks, I might have a child. So I can't tell you like when I am and am not available. Like the next week, yes, I'm available. But so we go in to get the ultrasound done next week. The week after that is possibly the version. and then we might have a kid. So that's where we're at.
Well, however it works, I hope your family does well, and
Thank you. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we've kind of resigned ourselves to whatever God.
But they have I've worked in women's healthcare for like 15 years now, literally in labor and delivery, doing their software and all that for them. And the technology is amazing. The babies, like in our NICU, in the NICU in one of our sites, I have 9 hospitals that I cover. Sometimes we have babies that are 25 weeks old, and they're fully mature, and the nurse in the incubators, and they're insane conditions where the baby has to have 17 surgeries in some cases, but they're just fine. So the technology is there, and you're already almost 39 weeks. So,
all right. So Copa, our prayers are definitely that everything just goes very smoothly, and baby is going through the channel like normal. And I want you to remember that Roman is a good name for either a boy or a girl.
No.
Come on, really, middle name.
There's Matt. Your 2 apostles named Matthew. If Jesus,
let me name my daughter Matthew. You're like, hey Matt, come here.
And Jane is like, no.
She'll fit right into school now.
Named Maddie?
No. She's going to be homeschooled. She's either going to be homeschooled or private school. There's no public school for her. Absolutely not. I'm not doing that to her. I want to give her a fighting chance at being a human being.
Yeah, thank God. So in a couple weeks, we're probably going to revisit this topic, but we can put it off a little bit longer, or whatever we need to, because I'd like to try to reconvene this panel because I have all of your images already, and that took me a long time. So
lazy.
It's a lot of work. You guys have like 1,000 images saved for this fucking show.
Look, boys, it's not about personality. It's just Roman wants to save some time, like 5 minutes.
It's a lot of work.
Okay.
So I do have like the City on the Edge of Forever. I have Mirror. The Enterprise incidents. I have that one as well. We have 5 more episodes of
Space
images
Seed.
saved.
Yeah.
I have Space Seed. So we have all these grand things that we can revisit. So until that time, though, let's go around the horn real quick, and then we can wrap her up, so to speak. Shieldwall, you got anything coming up, bud?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on Comic and Cosmetics stream on Sunday.
Right on.
But I'm a bad panel member because I don't have the time for that. Right here. It's in my DMs or something somewhere, but I believe it's going to be like 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
What's the subject?
It's going to be Star Trek. And it's going to be either how Star Trek affected modern things or something like that. Because I'm lined up for so many different shows. Yeah, I probably read ahead, but I'm more like a Neanderthal. I can only plan about 5 days ahead. So, scientists think that's how they lived. They only really thought about 5 days in advance. It was only capable of doing.
Seems legit.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for having me on tonight. Great conversation. We had a packed panel. Lots of people showing up. Good conversation. So yeah, always happy to be here. And yep. So have a good one.
Are you going to Vegas, Shieldwall?
No.
Can I draw you to Vegas? If I pay for the room, will you come to Vegas?
It's more of just the logistics of getting out there and everything. For me right now, but yeah, I mean, I went last year, so
last year it's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it'd be great to go.
He's not going because you're there.
That's
you
what
know
it
that,
is.
right?
I'm going because I'm going this year.
Yeah, he's like, Roman, are you going? Oh, never mind. And then he canceled all his shit. Yeah.
No, I never had any plans to go this year. It's just, with the way the economy is and inflation and everything, got to save. Gotta save.
Oh, you don't want to go gamble that shit away? Weird.
Well, no.
So
I'd rather gamble it by putting it in my savings.
Yeah, gamble it by putting it in a bank.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna buy government bonds. That's gonna be my dice.
Please don't.
Damn, dude.
Dear Lord. So Matt, what do you got coming up this week, pal?
I'm going to try to do more Bleach reviews. I don't know if I will get to it. Yeah. I'll probably keep up with the Star Trek Picard. I was going to do the second episode, which is horribly written. I mean, I hear people talk. I watched all 6 of them, right? But the second one is the most atrociously written. I'll give you a little preview. That for the first 2 episodes, they make a point that Picard's a retired admiral with no authority, right? And all of a sudden, halfway through the episode, out of nowhere, like an RK out of nowhere, Picard starts giving orders and everyone just starts listening to them. Like,
this is season 3?
Yeah, this is season 3.
Wow.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. But the thing is, there are good things in there that are enjoyable. It's like if none of that existed, you could watch the scenes. Yeah, it's okay. It's a little fun. You watch it once, whatever. Not great, but entertaining. But anyway, I'm going to get back to it.
Matt, do you think that the reason why everybody's giving a lot of high praise to season 3 is because the first 2 seasons were shit, or do you think there's something else going on?
I have an entirely different thesis on this, which I'll say very briefly. So the guy who's running the show this season, he was one of the ones running other Star Trek shows, right? But the people who are the most woke, like Kurtzman and all, said, "Oh, this is the last season. We're not going to have anything to do with this." This is what they told the public. So I'll do it, and I'll do like a Star Trek Nation season 8. So it seems like it's a throwback, right? But I have this theory that I think it's going to happen with Doctor Who, with the season that's coming up with David Tennant. They did it in Moon Knight season 1. If you pay attention, they do bait and switch. Where they'll give the fans something that seems like they want it, and then by the end of that time period, like at the end of Moon Knight, they bait and switch to the female replacement character. Doctor Who will have 3 great Tennant episodes. Then they're going to bait and switch to an even more woke Doctor when the new guy comes in. And I think that they're trying to bait and switch with Picard, where they're getting back to a Star Trek the way it should be, and this other show it's going to come out is it going to be like woke squared, So but go on now. Pay attention when you see any media products like Mandalorian season 1 and 2 were bait and switch. That's my opinion right now. Because about trash that everything's been since then.
Oh, it's definitely going to. They're definitely gearing you up. Like I said in my latest review, they're definitely gearing you up for this to turn into the Bo-Katan show. That's what they're turning into.
Worse than that, they're gearing you up to unify with the rest of Disney Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
they bait and switch all the fans who, I will legit admit when Luke appeared in episode season 2, I was happy. I was
for sure
happy.
We all were.
Oh yeah.
And even though season 2 wasn't as good as season 1, if the rest of Disney Star Wars got the lead and they only ever did 2 seasons, they're pretty good. They're not great, but they're pretty good. But the bait and switch is a big thing now for them.
If you notice how even in this most current episode, the Din Djarin, he's always in the back. There's like other people in front of him in the shots.
Everybody's always doing something.
Always, or blocking him.
He's doing the Homer Simpson where he fades into the bush.
Yeah,
that's exactly what's happening.
That's so true though, because I made a point of saying this in episode 2 where she's flying her ship around and he's sitting behind her, like just being a passenger. And I'm like, well, this is just clearly an allegory to him being a passenger in his own show.
Right.
Like he's
also,
just being.
They gave him that ship. They took away his big ship where he could actually carry stuff and do shit.
Yeah.
And now he's got this little fighter thing.
He's taking a Naboo starfighter now.
Yeah, which...
Dude, pathetic. I don't understand what the hell the writer's room was even thinking with the design on that ship. The first time I saw it at the end of season 2 or whatever the heck.
Like, it's a Naboo starfighter with pod racing engines.
They're thinking, what toys can we sell?
What that ship needs, right, is that needs to be a smaller ship that he can launch from his bigger ship.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So like
sort of like the Swordfish 2 in Cowboy Bebop.
Right. Yeah. So he uses that to like do certain missions with or whatever, but he needs to bounty hunt or have a place to, have a ship that's at least as big as hers. And in that episode with the stupid pterodactyl thing, how the hell did they fit all those bird babies in there? They literally were as big as the ship door. You couldn't pack 3 in there with all the people. You know what I mean?
Not only that, like why did they bring him back? Because I really thought they brought him back to eat him. I was like, oh,
well, you don't see him again. You don't see him again. So there should have been just like a bunch of bones laying around.
That's what I said. I said in the review, I said, oh, you know what? They should have been eating baby bird meat off the bone with their skulls in the background.
Yep. Yeah.
But the other part that didn't make sense to me was how did Bo-Katan like locate the nest if Mama Bird didn't even go to the nest until the next day when she was trying to feed her kids? Like none of that made sense.
Well, how did the kid survive in the gullet of that?
Yeah, he was like chilling in the throat.
Good questions.
Well, Sarlacc pit.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to put together a Mando stream. I'm working in the ether with Pops on this one to see who we can pull together, because not everybody's covering this anyway. So we're trying to pull together the creators out there who are covering it, so we can come together and have this spicy conversation regarding a show that should be good but isn't. So fucking Mando. So Daniel, what else are you doing, buddy?
Damn it, Daniel.
Damn, Daniel.
I'm vacillating between making my own Picard discussion or whatever video, because I just did one like you mentioned before, and I talked about similar to what Matt was just talking about, but a slightly different angle. And I despise it. I don't think it should exist. I joked in the beginning that there hasn't been new Star Trek since Enterprise, and that's how I look at it. I hate all of new Trek. So I don't know if I even want to take the time to to challenge Picard existing, because I don't. If it wasn't for like Nerdporial reviewing it, I wouldn't even watch it. And I've only been watching it as a sort of interest, because he's been doing it, and sort of a support of his attempt to understand the show. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do it. It's like I vacillate, because I'm like, oh, I could take the time to make an argument and take it apart, and in a reasoned argument, or I could just say it's shit. just walk away.
I think that feeling that you're having is just like the show, where it has a hint of it could be something great, like there's a mystery, and what is it? And if it was executed correctly, it would. But then you actually watch the show, and it's like you can smell somebody cooking some barbecue down the street, but you can't find it.
I'm not even slightly. There's not even 1% temptation with the interest of mystery box stuff. I despise Picard. I hate it. I don't even have an ounce of enjoyment or interest, anything to do with it. It's just a John Luke ego trip excuse, and that they eventually turned into an actual attempt at some kind of TNG thing in the 3rd season.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The 3rd season specifically. First 1 and 2 are garbage. I wouldn't even bother talking about them.
I know, but the 3rd season still built on the first 2, and it's still got all the same problems.
Not really. You don't have to watch it at all.
He's still a robot. They still refer to it.
I hate that. That bothers me a great deal.
They could have done something with the Q and said, "Oh, there's a reboot," but they weren't going to do that. They won't do that. So anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just go on to just do some other goofy oddball videos or something. But I don't know. I don't like Picard. I don't even like really talking about it, because I think it's just giving it more oxygen, frankly. But it's popular, and so I don't know. People are enjoying it.
Well, Daniel, if I may, my point of attack on the material, the only way to talk about these abominations is to come at it as almost like a geologist. Like what is going on here?
That is my
not even about the show. Like the show is the evidence that something is seriously wrong, but like what has gone wrong is really like the only point of attack that I can even consider.
That's the only part that piques my interest and curiosity is actually the people and what's been going on with the interest level. And I look at
the
it
divisiveness is like the crazy part.
I look at this as almost identically to when 2009 Star Trek and Force Awakens came out. I walked out of the theater on both of those, hating those movies instantly.
So did I.
But there were a lot of people who are genuine fans of Star Trek and Star Wars who loved those movies for quite a while, and it took years and subsequent sequels to finally kick in and go, I don't think I like Abrams' track, and I don't think I like
the sequels, especially for the Star Wars. Because some people know I'm not defending JJ, but Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were not his scripts. He had an entirely different trilogy planned, and Kennedy basically said, "Screw that, we're going to destroy it."
But that's a lot of people are like, oh, when Last Jedi came out, then I realized I hated this, and now I look at Force Awakens differently. And like, no, Force Awakens trash.
It is.
Force Awakens is trash.
It was garbage.
No, all the sequels are not good.
Yeah.
They have terrible elements in them.
But there was a delay. Ransom was talking about.
The Force Awakens just doesn't work on so many levels, not the least of which is the killing of Han Solo and not having Han, Luke, Leia all on the screen at the same time. That was a terrible fucking idea.
Well, it's his idea.
I got it, but it was fucking terrible.
Idea.
Oh, great actors making decisions for screenplays. That's
not
fantastic.
a fucking writer.
It's the same thing in ND5. His condition to come back as he gets killed off.
Yeah, he just
he's an actor, not a writer.
Anyway, this is a weird time. Like, I don't want to be making videos just bickering. And so I'd rather be discussing like we did tonight. I was way more excited to just talk about old classic Star Trek, which I love, because, you can just talk about what's great about it. So,
right.
Anyway.
And there is. And, there's so many aspects of it. So thank you for hanging out with us tonight, Daniel. This was good. It was nice to have you back on the show. And I am going to hit you up for part 2 of this. As we try to finish off the episodes that we all want to talk about, there might be a couple that we may not make it, but we'll at least get the next 5 in.
Thanks,
so,
Roman.
Copa, what do you have there?
I just dropped Mandalorian season 3 episode 4 review today.
Fantastic review.
Thank you, sir. So that just dropped today, and then I have to turn right back around and review episode 5 tomorrow.
And I'm sorry about that.
I have no idea what happens in episode 5, but just judging from the past 4 episodes, I know that it's just downhill. Like, and I said this with episode 1. I'm like, you can tell that the writers the problem with The Mandalorian that I saw at the end of season 2 was when they brought out Luke Skywalker and he did all his Luke Skywalkering on the robots and stuff, like all the droids, and he did all that cool stuff. I'm like, well, this is just like Endgame. Where do they go from here?
Yep.
They can't top it. It was the same feeling I got when I walked out of Endgame. And I said, I don't know what Marvel's going to do, but they better have a huge plan. Yeah, it's total implosion. And man, the writing, I don't know if the writers got poached or whatever, but the writing in this season is just dismal. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
None of it is logical whatsoever. So
I'm telling you, it feels like an AI wrote it. It really does.
No, it really does. It really feels like the writers got drunk and then they plugged in the keywords that they wanted, and then Chat GPT or GPT wrote it out. You're absolutely right. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. And they typed in somewhere, remove all actual military tactical aspects of the show.
Right.
But
it's really funny. It's really funny too, because the WGA like 2 weeks ago just now allowed the use of AI in screenplays. So it only makes sense if they are just typing out a summary and plugging it into like Chat GPT.
And the Chat GPT is given the dialogue, like
or it's spewing out like
bad plot points.
Yeah, bad plot points, and then they try to connect them.
So they use the same thing. They use the same thing that Fahey does. They film like 10 different versions of every scene and kludge them together.
I don't know if they can even afford that now.
No, that's why it's so over. It costs so much to make the TV shows and shit.
Oh,
there was no articles about that a few months ago. That Kennedy adopted from Fahey, basically.
What a treat!
Yeah, but he was doing that with freaking cartoons, not in live action.
Well, now it's not. Disney's thinking about doing up everything.
That is so expensive to do.
Anything.
Did they, even though they're horribly hemorrhaging money, they're still making money hand over foot.
Well, they're still making money hand over foot just because of the theme parks. But you have to realize it this way: like the theme parks, people only go to the theme parks because of the properties that they have, and over time, if they keep diminishing the value of their properties, people are going to not want to go to their theme parks either. Like no one's going to want to go to Star Wars Land if nobody has enjoyed Star Wars for the last 30
I don't want to go to Star Wars Land.
No, I don't either.
But like it or not, all these Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars movies, even though they're not making as much money as they could make, they're still making profits for most of them. So we may hate it, and I do. I wish whenever these movies come out, I wish they would crash and burn and not even make 10% of what it costs to make them. But the reality is, somewhere in the world, there's enough people who will go see these damn things. And so the woke board said, we made 10%. That's enough to make another one of these things,
right. As they have to cut another 7,000 jobs.
Yeah.
Cut all the jobs. Stop making movies.
Well, I'm convinced that a lot of those jobs were probably unnecessary to start with to even have.
I would say most of the jobs
in corporations,
aside from the theme park people, are unnecessary. The theme parks are all I give a fuck about with Disney anymore. They're not putting out any intellectual properties that are worth a fuck, either in things they used to own or still own, I guess, but are resurrecting the corpse of, or these other properties they've taken over and have now fucking corrupted.
I want to say The Mandalorian, the first 2 seasons were the only thing Disney where I was like, yeah, I'm legit excited for the show.
But it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
It was bait and switch.
It wasn't. Nice. It wasn't worth. Yeah. It wasn't worth them doing it for all the other bullshit that they've done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fuck Disney. That's my
the best thing. The best Star
Wars
that they've put out is Andor.
Yeah, and see, but the thing is with Andor is nobody's excited to watch it. No one watched it.
And I'm not saying it's a masterpiece either, but it is the best that they put out. It has a plot and a story, and
yeah, but they had to
relatively well written. It's shot not on the freaking soundstage or whatever.
Pinewood?
Like this last episode, the volume. This last episode, I could literally see where the volume started in the shot. It was that obvious. They're all just standing around, and there's like a semicircle behind them in the town.
I was blackballed by the time Andor came out.
It was terrible. It was terribly filmed. Stephen, what else do you have coming up, my brother?
Nothing actually planned until I think Monday. I'm going to be on the premature ejection stream with Flaccid Phoenix.
I'll be there. See you there.
Oh, cool.
Did they suck you in?
You should be very aerodynamic on the way out the hood. So.
They bring me back in.
That's like what, 8 o'clock Eastern? Or 8 o'clock Central.
I have no idea.
8 o'clock. 7 Pacific Standard.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8 o'clock Central, 7 p.m. Pacific Coast, and 9 or so, plus or minus. That's a hoot. That's a hoot and a half. Those guys are doing something really. It's impressive. They're trying to change gears with that show, and I want to throw in as much support as possible because what's going on in fandom right now is it's starting to get a little disturbing. It's starting to get on my nerves. It's not even infighting. We're all agreeing that we're going to spend our time disliking things continuously and over again, so you don't have to. And then we tune in and commingle and jump in the dance floor with the hate party. And I'm you guys are doing some fantastic work, and it wouldn't even be worth it if it wasn't funny, right? Amusing and entertaining to watch these, tossed grandma down the stairs kind of critiques on these shows, because that's basically what's going on here. This corpse is wandering through the hallways, and the reviewers are just coming along and just going, "Please, grandma," and she falls down a flight of steps that dead at the bottom. Hopefully, so we don't get another episode. It's horrible. It's nobody's even talking about writing anymore. I mean, Copa, God bless you for even. It's like it. People aren't talking about the mechanics of the episodes. They're talking about poor special effects and dumb characters, and it's like, you know what, man? It's like, I know all of you can do better. There's more out there to discuss. Come at this from a totally different way. I don't know. It's bring up a friggin' candy commercial and the episode of Mandalorian at the same time and just go, it was really hard to figure out, but I think this candy commercial is better directed. Something,
right.
Anything. It's like, just more clever, more entertaining, because what we're covering at this point is just so absurdly bad. It's been absurdly bad since 5 years ago, and it was absurdly bad back then. And 5 years prior to that, they were just getting the hang of being pretty damn bad. Okay, so it's been pretty bad for like 10 years now.
The old crappy Sci-Fi Channel stuff was actually science fiction. They were actually attempting something, even it was garbage.
They were trying.
That's because they knew they had shitty CGI behind them, so they had to write a story that people were going to hang on to.
Yep. And the novels.
That's why we need to get back to bad special effects. I've been saying that for the longest time.
More Sharknadoes.
Exactly,
dude.
I love Sharknado. But Steven,
I would say Sharknado has more entertainment value than anything I've seen in Mandalorian season 3 so far.
Yeah, dude. When they pulled those birds out of the back of that shuttle, I was just like, wow.
Yeah, and the thing is that all of the ingredients for an awesome show are there.
Right.
That's the most frustrating part.
Exactly.
That's the most frustrating part with the
prequels,
too. It's maddening. It's so maddening.
They've got the guys in the jetpacks, right? They've got the weapons. All they have to do is just apply them correctly. But it's like
can't do it.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to make a science fiction film that has a pure mixture of samurai movie and Western.
Yeah,
like it just that genre, those two genres blended together, especially in a sci-fi setting, they literally have to be doing this on purpose to make it take.
Exactly.
The rumor for the Mandalorian just about a year ago basically was when Kennedy interceded on the Book of Boba Fett and to ruin the show. And Favreau had to use Mandalorian footage to finish the season to try to salvage it. He's the only one who could tell Kennedy to get off the set. Like, she outranks everyone else the way Iger and what's-his-face set it up. So he got frustrated with the Mandalorian because she basically sabotages it when he wasn't there. So he just abandoned it and went to film Ahsoka and let her just destroy the Mandalorian season 3.
This is my whole video, why it's pointless to try to work within these structures. It's pointless. And this whole discussion of supporting a sub-director or a showrunner within the structure of something which is so terrible is pointless. So you can't.
We're not talking about the entertainment value.
Exactly.
Anymore. We're no longer talking about why we liked these things in the first place, and that was mesmerized person shows up at some magic box and gets entranced for 2.5 hours.
If you
That's
watch,
what it's supposed to be about.
No, you're right.
Gene Roddenberry himself talks about that. I just watched a little interview thing, and he does a little discussion at the beginning of the pilot for The Cage and all that. And he talks about the fact that when he made Star Trek, to be on the networks, you had to have, I think he mentions 18 million viewers. And so he's talking like hardcore, the numbers you need in order to pull people away from Gomer Pyle and the other things that were on at the time. Mm-hmm. And he understood that entertainment was very important. But of course, he wanted to mix his stories and do his science fiction. But he also knew that you needed to have a level of entertainment that we're talking about now. Like, what would be fun? Like, we all know it would be fun. It's like you said, the elements are there. It's maddening because we see them. But this isn't new rocket science. Roddenberry was dealing with this in the 60s. He figured out this
crying
equation.
out loud. Doc E. Smith was dealing with it in 1918, for Christ's sake. He wrote the original Skylark novel. It's like madness that we haven't figured this out. It's quite literally 100 years of solid science fiction writing on the shelf, and we're still regurgitating stuff from the mid-60s. Stop it already. Just stop.
I don't think it's the fact that like we've figured it out, because we totally have. We figured it out what entertains. The problem is that they reject it.
Yes.
Like they think they're coming out with some kind of new art nouveau, like messaging bullshit where, you know, the woke is going to reign supreme, and if they hammer it in our heads long enough, we're going to eventually fall in line.
And they haven't
Oh, go ahead.
As there's no subtlety to it.
Right.
There's no subtlety to the message. It's just
right.
Like be a pate goose. Here's the funnel.
You're right.
It's
the thing.
Exposition is the worst thing in the world.
But that's what Richard Donner talked about with Lethal Weapon. He was saying, look, I'm a big lib and I'm anti-NRA and stuff like that. But if I made a movie, Lethal Weapon, and the first thing I came out and did was just hit you with that message, then I would lose because I'm not entertaining anybody. No one wants to go see that. And he's absolutely right. He put his message in the background on like refrigerators and stuff like that. The no NRA stickers or like end apartheid now.
Wildly annoying, but
it's wildly annoying and it's really stupid.
Wildly annoying because we caught that now. It's like, oh my god,
dude! Yeah, I remember the first time they did the anti-cigarette messages in films, where somebody would grab somebody's knife and pin somebody's arm up against the wall, and it would be right next to a smoking sign, and I was just like, really?
Yeah,
really? I mean, really? These guys are shooting each other with bullets, Okay, that's also bad for your health. I'm like, for real.
You cannot.
Bullets are like vitamins. You get plenty of iron.
You cannot save someone's business who's determined to drive it into the ground. As a customer, you cannot help a hamburger shop owner when he is determined to go out of business. And that's what everyone is trying to do with Disney and Paramount and everything else. And they're just like,
because we own stock, we have pensions. We don't want our pensions to be devalued.
Yeah, but the only thing that's going to solve those things is when those companies bomb. They bottom out. And then they'll correct themselves. But yeah, you can't. I don't want to go into a whole story, but you can't help someone. I literally tried this myself. You can't help someone's business. You're not the owner. It's like you can't help an alcoholic until they hit rock bottom. And there's so many people determined to support things. This is why the Picard thing drives me nuts. We saw this with Mandalorian. People wanted Mandalorian to be great, but that didn't result in Boba Fett being good, and it didn't result in all these
fucking horrible,
or Obi-Wan being good, or
which was actually worse than Boba Fett, which
was even worse. So it's like
it's just I just don't understand how they could take such good characters and how it could be just so crap.
Yes,
I just don't get it.
It's an entire planetary religion of super warriors being made into refugees. I mean, just that kernel alone of the Mandalorian is like so insane, and they're not even trying to build on it. It's like we're still seeing beaches and sand and caves with barbecue systems.
There is so much fucking sand, Stephen.
Dude, what the hell?
I hate sand.
It's obviously everywhere.
Yes, it gets everywhere. It's coarse.
But it's like having an entire kitchen and pantry with fresh fruit and meat and all this stuff, and they're open a 25-year-old can of SpaghettiOs and serving it to you.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Or
puts good pasta in the blender.
From Star Trek.
Yeah. In my opinion, we actually haven't. There are multiple times during the course of the stream, not to drag this out any further than it already is, but the special effects shots, I find it annoying that there was no continuity. In one shot, the old shot, it's glowing. Slightly different color than my brain remembers, but okay, fine. This shot, it's made out of sheet metal that resembles that color, but is now no longer glowing. Okay, then the beam it shoots out, it just, I'm sorry. It's like, this is already a lot for your brain to ingest in the first place, a Star Trek episode, and you're going and screwing around with continuity because it looks cleaner.
Well, no, remember, these are just the shots that it shows. If you watch it straight through,
right, it's harder to tell.
Injected, you don't even know that it's there because it's where it was supposed to be.
Well, I think what sparked the conversation that we just had is that we went and we talked about these old episodes and saw how good they were, and then we're like, look at the garbage that we have to put up with today, the absolute trash. But the problem is that they have it's the same characters, not same characters, but same universe that they're working with now with Picard and a lot of these other shows, that when these franchises were great. It's not like it's a new show that they just made up and it winds up sucking.
Yeah, you think about the momentum that a new franchise gains after they've introduced the universe, right? You would think at this point that they could pretty much write anything in the Star Trek universe. And instead, we got dark corridors with androids talking to each other about their feeling core. It's like,
fuck that. Yeah,
this isn't Star Trek, guys. This is therapy. I don't know what the therapy for, maybe to drive me crazy, perhaps.
It's not the bright future that Roddenberry had envisioned. They've flushed that in favor of this new whatever the fuck it's supposed to be.
See, the problem, I think the problem as well is the fact that J.J. Abrams caught fire so quickly with Alias and Lost, and he had that whole team that eventually that team, that bad robot team, just kind of infected all sorts of like nerd fandom. Yeah, so it infected Star Trek, Star Wars. I mean, you name it. Usually when you see something that's total dog shit or goes downhill real quick, like Westworld, you can tell right away. It's like, oh, someone from Bad Robot's involved with this. Like, it always starts off with a great premise that really hooks you, and then by season 2 or 3, you can tell. And I think that's the thing too. It all harkens back to writing. You can't. A script is your foundation to a good piece of work, and these people just do not want to take the time into putting in a good, solid piece of writing.
Well, here's the other thing that I think is indicative of the modern era is that people, they say, okay, like the country's going down the tubes, everything sucks, everything's racist, everything's an ist or whatever. What they fail to realize is that what made Star Trek so good and a lot of other movies is not that the reality of the world is that everything was aspirational, right? Like, oh, America is, it's a country based on, founded on systemic racism and stuff, but it's not. It was founded on ideals that we should try to live up to. That's what we're missing, is nobody is trying to live up to ideals anymore, even if that's not where we're currently at as a country. True. They're not trying to aspire to be that thing. I don't care what the reality is. It's a fantasy that you're telling a story of. So therefore, Star Trek should not be dark and gritty and people cussing and all this kind of stuff. And, you can show those things in there, but the core characters, that should not be them. They should be upstanding, forthright, brave, conscientious.
God, what is the definition of the word noble, for crying out loud, right?
Honor,
gold is noble because it does not tarnish. That's what makes it noble.
And that's what made these older series good. It wasn't until they started adding all this, oh, I'm going to show my emotions and we're going to be like real people. But that's not what people want to see. And if it is, then go see like 24 or some other show. Right. Breaking Bad.
Right. But it's not like Star Trek didn't touch on tragedy either, because the episode City on the Edge of Forever, God, I mean, that is such a tragic episode.
But you do it with the guest characters, the NPCs, if you will, the red shirts. Right. You don't do it with your core set of characters. They can have conflict, they can have lives, they can have growth and all this, but they should not despair. They shouldn't be like Colonel Ty in Battlestar Galactica, the new one, where he's like, and then that's a whole different thing, but you can't do that to Star Trek.
Well, I'm blaming this whole thing on the fact that for the last like 10 years or so, we've been told that we all should sit around in a public sewing circle and talk about our feelings and stuff like that. And there used to be virtue in like men and women who just gritted their teeth and went through adversity and didn't mention it to anybody. I remember back in the day when I was growing up as a boy, it was more virtuous to just suck up whatever was going on and not even talk about it. And there's something about that is just not instilled. And I'm not saying that's the most healthiest of ways to deal with everything, but at the same time, I think we've made it to a point now where we sit here and say, hey, why don't you talk about all your feelings? It's whack.
It's the other side of it now, and it doesn't. Yeah, and it doesn't work. Clearly, it doesn't work.
Who wants to see it?
Tells you it doesn't work.
Exactly. Who wants to see their heroes like Captain America sit in a session and just boo-hoo about the things that he saw? Like, no one wants to watch that.
No, I want to see him going out and trying to save what's left of society and not be a fucking vagina.
Exactly.
Anyway, close with that. So on that note, friends.
On that note, Captain America in a circle.
Captain America is a vagina.
So next week, I got a big comic stream coming up on Thursday. On Saturday, I will be with PJ Maybe at 12. And on Monday, I'll be over with Flaccid for premature ejection. And there may be some other shit in there, but I don't remember what it is. So just kind of go with it. But I want to thank everybody who was on the panel tonight. Man, this was I knew Star Trek was going to be a layered stream, and it was fantastic. Everybody has very different perspectives on these shows. We all agree how the overall goodness of the show, some of the wonkier aspects are funny, but the overall message of the show is what's important. And that's where we all stand firm. And the chat tonight was fantastic. I want to thank everybody who was with us and everybody who is doing the rewatch and catching this at a later time. So thank you all. It's fun talking to you all. If it's not for you, it's just us talking amongst each other, and I can get us together in a bar and do that. So thanks for hanging with us. So for now, this has been Roman of the Empire signing off. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Be kind.
Night.
You